Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla, just looking for a little cheese in our pockets. What's up, DB?
You know me and cheese.
You big piece of cheese guy.
Hey, listen. Well, sucker for cheese.
Here, rat, how about some cheese?
Whatever that's from.
You know, so I was watching a movie the other day.
Was it any good? Yes or no first?
Yes.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay.
It's,
Are you going to describe it and I'll see if I can guess it?
I can if you want. It's about a poker movie.
Rounders?
Yep.
Okay.
So
You just on a humbug? Because I feel like you've seen that a lot.
it's been a while. It's probably been since I last watched it, like start to finish. It's probably been like 8-10 years, somewhere in there.
Since I last saw you.
It was a TikTok deal where
It's been a while.
yeah, Stained.
Yeah. It's on my algorithm quite a bit.
So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to watch it because I like a lot of the scenes. So I was like, yeah, whatever. What I had forgotten, though, you know, Edward Norton's character in that movie?
Hmm?
I feel like that's your consummate piece of cheese guy. That dude sucks. Like, you and Matt Damon in that movie have too much in common. Where you're just like, you keep giving him chances. And like, he did something really nice for you one time when you were kids.
Yeah.
And now you're like, I'm riding with this guy forever. And he ruins your life.
You have no idea how true that is.
No,
bro.
I have a pretty good idea how true it is.
He said that guy sucks.
He is. He's the worst. Like,
I do have an ability to hang in.
that whole movie doesn't. It's like a 4-minute short. If Matt Damon picks up Worm from prison, and he's just like, all right, best of luck, bud. We'll see you later.
The whole thing would have been different.
Yeah, the whole movie gone. He'd been in law school still, probably would have graduated, had that nice clerkship.
So would he have gotten the girl? Because I still am confused. Spoiler alert. Did he go back and meet the girl? Did they just part at the end?
There's parted ways.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because there's a scene at the end.
Well, I know when they're like walking along the street and she goes her.
Yeah,
And
he goes to Vegas.
Yeah, but you don't know. Like she may have caught a flight.
I mean, it didn't seem like it. Maybe she did. Maybe they like reconnected.
Did you
later.
see how she looked back over her shoulder? It was like.
I mean, she definitely still had feels for him because
Yeah.
she goes, "Hey, I'll always be there for you."
Right.
I get it.
They left.
But exes can be weird sometimes, you know? I mean, look at the Dallas Mavericks.
He cried.
Listen, that was awkward. Not the crying, like I get it. But I also feel like it's sort of a dick move on the
Wow.
Mavericks part.
Rise and shine, baby. More like rise and grind. What in the world? Where'd you just pull that from?
I feel like it's kind of a jerk move.
Well, it's cat's out of the bag. I mean, you can go
I
back
don't
to
need to say it every time. I'm not Solder. I don't have like F-word Tourette's. Which
So
is
he's-
not to diminish real Tourette's.
So he's off the grid, so you can talk about him as much as you want.
I mean, I talk about him anyway. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
On the grid, off the grid.
Take it, dear baby Jesus.
You know,
My
no,
man's
it was so weird. The
Yeah.
Luka thing.
I'm over it.
It was.
I need new storylines. I've graduated to the Masters. I have.
You graduated?
Dude, I'm emotionally drained. This last five, that's about all I got.
You ever been to-
I'm about to go back to. Man, listen.
You ever been to an ex's wedding?
No, I think she's 0 for 2.
That's awkward.
I wouldn't. She may invite me. I don't know. Maybe.
It's awkward. I've been to an ex's wedding, and it was a high school thing, so it wasn't that serious.
So not like a real XX, like it's just somebody I used to.
Yeah, somebody you hung out with for a while.
No.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, but I'm not like that though.
But imagine if you were to go to someone's wedding.
Imagine all. The
I could only
people.
imagine it if you had
Shane,
kids.
you've never even had a girlfriend. How would you? You don't
Well,
even
if
have
you-
the opportunity to
if
have
you
an
if
ex.
you had kids and you had to take one of the kids to the wedding, I mean that'd be the only plausible way, wouldn't it?
I mean, it's not the only plausible way because some people think they stay friends and stuff, and some people do, and it's weird to like. But imagine you go and then they play a tribute video to you at their wedding. That's basically what happened last night.
Yeah,
That's odd. Don't do that, Dallas.
I'm just trying to think.
And then they printed T-shirts or little party favors with your face on them.
No, I don't think I would go to a wedding of anyone where the love was returned. Like now, if it was this unrequited love, like maybe they liked me,
Yeah,
and
but
I just wasn't vibing.
yeah, but you guys were cool.
Yeah, because they're. I mean, I can think of one or two,
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's weird.
I maybe.
And if you did,
I just don't. I wouldn't. I don't stand. I wouldn't get an invite either.
that's fair. I just mean like if for some reason you found yourself in that situation and all of a sudden they're playing a video about you at that event, be like, hey, this is pretty strange, guys.
So this
is unusual.
I shouldn't even say this. There was a
Might as well.
Okay.
Is anybody gonna get hurt?
No.
Okay, well, might as well then.
I don't think so. It made me feel awkward though.
Sure.
So there's a senior deal at the end of the season for the football banquet, and parents get to submit pictures, right? So clearly, there's a past life and there's my current one.
Yeah.
And one of the pictures she submitted was the three of us at a game. He's like 2.
Little kid, yeah.
I in my head, I'm like, why? You had 2,226 other pictures. And it made me feel very, very awkward in that room. And I probably played it off.
Yeah.
I just thought it was weird.
It's a weird move.
It's what's that? The what move?
A jerk move? Oh, a dick move. Yeah.
I don't know if it was
like Dick Vitale.
With a capital T, baby. It's awesome.
That's actually a pretty good Vitale.
Just go into character.
It's really not bad.
He's having a moment. Still traumatized from the lack of a rehearsal yesterday.
But yeah, just imagine instead of one picture, it was an entire video.
Yeah, no, I'm not
like what is.
I'm over. And I don't ride like that.
So weird.
I don't ride like that.
The whole time I'm like, none of this feels right or normal. I'm uncomfortable. I can't imagine what Luka feels like. And what does AD feel like?
Yesterday's news.
You know what I mean?
Total trash. Like when Lawrence Taylor talked about going to South Beach. Down in South Beach, Romy. Totally trashed. It's the funniest interview.
I just made $1 million.
It was the funniest interview ever. This was like 19.
You were doing real life. I was
99. No, totally trashed. South Beach, Romy. Are you okay? Not to go all night, Bird. But in the clip we heard Coach Hoiberg talk about, Juwan and Twice as Nice and kind of Bryce standing up and rallying the troops. That's about what that team needed. Like, did that strike you as hit you any type of way? Or are you just like, nah, a guy that I didn't think, because I know sometimes you question his alpha skills.
Yeah, well, so
did it hit? Did it hit?
Not really.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if he was, Bryce is a nice ball player.
Listen, I'm not going to stand here for the diminishing of Bryce's attributes and the little subtle omitting slander.
No,
we're not going to be on that this morning.
I'm not trying to slander him. I'm trying to give him.
But Bryce is a nice player.
He is. He's a nice player.
He goes for 20 a night in the Big Ten, but it's very mediocre. He's no Ashworth.
I'm not saying. Ashworth isn't playing in the NBA either. Let's not do that. Come on.
Let's not do that.
Come on, man. What are we doing?
Duval. Wow. What a weirdo.
Duval. Man, that was almost pitch perfect. Who?
Charles Ray.
Barkley?
Yes.
Oh. Ray Charles?
See.
Stevie Wonder. Okay, not to get totally sidetracked here, but so I was talking to
Bryce is a nice player.
My wife a couple days ago.
Yeah, that's good. It's always good if you could talk to your wife.
It's unusual. Like, are you a Stevie Wonder truther?
I am not committed to Stephen Wonder.
No, you don't know if he's blind or not.
I'm not severe. I'll tell you that. That's his. Is
thing. That he can see?
Yes.
Okay.
We've probably argument or two, I think, on air over that before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Here's my question, and then we can get back to Bryce. It's unusual that there would be two very famous black blind artists, right? Like, just statistically. When there's basically 0 white ones, but there's more white people. Like, statistically, that's an outlier at best, right?
Correct.
Okay. Like, it seems really odd to me. I've never thought about it in those terms before.
Just playing the averages.
But there's zero blind white artists, that like famous white artists, right?
Yeah.
Natasha brought up Beethoven. I was like, babe, he was deaf and didn't start that way. And he was like 300 years ago. We're talking about two in the last 50 years, 60 years, however old Ray Charles is, right?
Yeah.
That seems unlikely.
How come nobody has ever like tried to like flinch or jump at him to see if he like gets scared?
I don't know. Let's do some practice. Let's throw some stuff at him.
He's still with us, right, Shane?
As far as I know.
Oh, we would know because there would have been a huge tribute.
I would imagine, yeah. I feel like there would have been.
There is superstition.
I'm just
riding on the wall.
Oh, he's apparently from Ghana. 74 years old. Appears to still be with us.
That's it?
Yeah.
Why did you have to hit me with the stat? No, now I'm like, wow, what are the odds?
That's what I mean. It gets in your head. I'm like, wait a second. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, if I had a nickel for every time there was a famous black blind artist, I'd only have 2 nickels. But still, it's weird it happened twice.
I'm not going to sit for this Stevie Wonder slander.
Like, if you had hosted shows with 2 diabetic Indian co-hosts, that would be a statistical outlier. There's not a lot of us.
What is wrong with you?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Bryce Williams is a nice ball player. My question about him is, this couldn't have happened before they missed the Big Ten tournament? Like, if you're wired...
God, you're such a sour grape.
No, I'm like, if you're wired that way, why weren't you wired?
You're like the bad chip in the bag, right? It's like you're just moving along and the chips are good and you get that one and then you roll up the end of the bag and you're like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
like,
I don't want this anymore.
Operation Party Pooper, like he didn't go, they can't go back and get it.
I understand that, and I'm glad that they went.
Couldn't you have done this during the regular season?
No, listen, you asked about the alphaness. It's either there or it's not, okay?
Get fired up.
If you're going to ask me about him as an alpha dog, everything's in play all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
So I'm asking.
That was a good movie. Was Alpha Dog the movie with the guy with the lazy eye?
I haven't seen Alpha Dog.
I think it's with Forrest Whitaker.
Oh, I like Forrest Whitaker.
I go back and forth.
There's some things I like Forrest Whitaker in a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's other things where I'm like, I find the eye distracting.
I liked him in when he played Bumpy Johnson.
I don't know what that is.
That may be a little too cultural for you, but Bumpy Johnson was...
Like Lean On Me? Like culturally relevant?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Again, Bikram yoga. Stretch!
I don't think there is a... Oh, he is... Nope, he's not in that movie. We got to get like 30 cast members deep before we find a non-white person.
In Alpha Dog?
Yeah. We got Fernando Vargas. He's pretty deep in there.
The boxer, Fernando Vargas?
Yeah, he plays Tico Martin, it looks like.
Weird. A Fernando plays a Tico.
I don't think there's a brother in this whole movie.
Well, he plays in... Forrest Whitaker is in a movie with dog in the title.
That's fair. I don't think there's a brother in this entire movie.
Okay. Wait on my parade.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Forgot what I was... Oh, so Bumpy Johnson is the former boss of Frank in American Gangster.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so Netflix, somebody has
Spoiler alert, that's the guy he kills, right?
Frank
no, Bumpy dies.
Yeah, Bumpy.
And then hands the
torch off to Frank.
Okay.
Frank kills Idris Elba because he's a mark.
Got it.
What are you gonna do, Frank? Shoot me out here in the streets?
Yeah, so he did. He shot him in the street, and then went back and had his breakfast.
Yeah. He said, "Now where were we?" Cold-blooded.
I like that movie.
Yeah, so Forrest Whitaker plays Bumpy Johnson.
That movie's not too cultural for me. I like that movie a lot.
American Gangster.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, there was enough versatility.
It's a good movie.
Plus, they had my guy in it.
Plus, I like gangster stuff. You know that.
Yeah, I know that's you.
Well, mob stuff.
Nothing says studio gangster like Ravi Lulla.
I like mob stuff. I find the stories fascinating.
This is going out to you studio gangsters. See, I did dirt, put in work.
It's not about crime. It's about family. Anyway.
Nice cover. Good piece of cheese. No, but like, I don't like the whole... He said 2 feet in, which is kind of weird. Like, if you want, like, you're either 10 toes down or You're both feet in.
2 feet in.
I've never heard of that. So, but that's okay. I'm the king of biffing analogies, but we're either both feet in or 10 toes down. We can't say, hey, we're both feet in. Just doesn't hit as hard.
Just got to get some cheese in that pocket.
Stop it. That's my dude. You can play all the Marcus Satterfield clips you want, Shane. I'm still in my feels. I don't appreciate your lack of care and concern and any sort of compassion this morning, but it's nothing that I'm not used to.
What'd I do?
I don't know. It's just being you. What are you? You're preoccupied with something with a movie character. What is it?
Yeah, I don't think Forrest Whitaker is an American gangster.
Your ability to comprehend is so poor. This isn't about Forrest Whitaker being an American gangster. Bumpy Johnson was the character in American Gangster that Frank wanted to take the business over for. Conversely, Forrest Whitaker played in a series where he was in fact Bumpy Johnson.
That's where I missed you. It was like
I feel like I'm at home.
It was like the
No.
It was like the NLRB thing yesterday where we confused the state versus the federal. I was missing a piece there.
Yeah. I was still backpatting from being able to read the information ahead of time and then get it to you in a timely fashion.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Then TK came back to get it for you, right?
He did, yeah. And once what we explained at the end of that segment was
right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should have told Amazing Daniel. He was the one being a stick in the mud.
Well, that's not unusual.
Wow.
You big Tom Jones guy?
What?
Not unusual.
That's pretty. No, I'm not a Tom Jones guy.
Pretty wide? He's not that big.
I did used to wonder how he kind of got his hair to do that.
Yeah.
It had a little kink to it.
I was going to say,
wasn't exactly straight.
not the whitest hair I've ever seen in my life.
Wow, you heard. Are we going to make it?
Who knows?
Like, what happened this morning?
I don't know.
Extra tart in your pop?
No, I haven't even opened them yet.
Extra C4?
I've only had like a sip. I don't know. I just woke up a little squirrely.
Yeah, I just like on the heels of hearing Coach. We gonna play that again, Shane? What did he? He's not feeling me this morning, is he?
Who?
Coach Rule.
Oh,
nah.
Is he still mad at all of Hale Varsity?
I'm pretty sure he's gonna hold me responsible. I said that's not even me. It's not even me.
Yeah, that's not even.
You see me try. You heard me yesterday trying to get off the hook, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
No, it wasn't.
I'm loosely affiliated.
No. David, it was David. David went
I don't even know all the silos in this monster. Hurrdat 1 and 2 and media. I don't know. And
sports and Hale Varsity, AB preps.
I'm just trying to get in where I fit in.
Yeah.
And dude said, that's your fault. I knew the story. I knew you were joking.
Yeah. We were joking too.
Mm.
Not we. I didn't have anything to do with it, Coach Rule. The royal we. Hale Varsity proper.
Pardon?
Hale Varsity proper.
I'm just doing like the old man walk.
Well, I tell you, I just got here.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I got a long day.
We out here, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get you off on a pleasant note,
Is that what it is?
Yeah, trying to get your day started off with a laugh and a smile.
I've got to have a Coke and a smile and STFU.
You're not a pop guy. I didn't want to go with Coke on you.
Was that Richard Pryor or Eddie Murphy that told that to Bill Cosby?
Have a Coke and a smile?
And be quiet. I think it was in a stand-up.
I think it was Richard Pryor.
I think, Bill was mad at one. How about the irony of this?
Bill being mad at somebody for
the way that they talk.
Yeah.
Right? That would be the least of my concerns if I was a roofie dude.
Yeah.
Not allegedly.
No, he got convicted. It was just a statute of limitations issue. I don't think we have to say allegedly. There was a conviction there.
Well, you are a cold shot.
I'm just saying,
we out here, right?
We out here.
10 toes down.
I'm pretty sure they just let him out of jail because he's really old and this is getting weird.
We're out here.
With you being mad at Luka, what is wrong?
I'm not mad at Luka. I'm mad at the Mavs. Luka didn't go. He was going to work. That's not his fault.
So I said 28 shot attempts.
Yeah. He had 45 points. What was the shot attempts end up?
Right there.
Right in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
'Cause
Mr. Rogers. Which, by the way, I sent T-Mac a TikTok.
Yeah.
Of Mr. Rogers. His only response to me was, "Go ahead and restart your algorithm. Be better."
Gosh dang it, DB. You want to know what he was?
Talk to me.
16 for 28.
Yeah.
7 for 10 from 3.
Shane.
Shot better from 3 than he did from the free throw line.
By the way, in Bad Boys, they use that line. Go have a Coke and a smile.
The first one?
I'm not sure which one.
I don't think it's in the second one. I've seen Bad Boys 2 like 100 times.
Yeah. That 28 was my walk-off yesterday.
Yeah, it was. Because I said over under 24.5. You go 28.
28.
He was going to get after it, and he did.
They still rot.
The Lakers?
Yeah.
I mean, Roth seems aggressive.
Well, you have 4 teams still that are 47 and 32, correct?
Yeah, well, 3 because the
Fakers lost. And,
dropped a game to the...
Yeah, the Fakers won and the Warriors lost.
Yeah. So you have 5 teams within 1 game of third place. And
are you smelling playing?
So for the Warriors?
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous. I don't want to end up in the play-in.
Yeah.
I don't feel. Although, hear me out.
Every day I do.
Every day I'm hustling.
What?
So if you end up as the 7, right? You end up playing Houston, which I don't hate.
Yeah, they'll just bully you.
They will, but in terms of playoff matchups, it's not the worst thing in the world to play Houston. Like, I know everybody's sort of angling to play Denver because they're in shambles. And
so apparently Denver doesn't want to win in the postseason?
I don't know, but everybody's angling to play Denver, and I was like, Jokic still plays for them, right?
And all of a sudden, are they going to rally? Are you buying the fact that the Kroenke they did that
no
ahead of time, so they wouldn't make a run in the postseason and had to keep him?
No.
There's got to be no.
I don't buy that as the reason. I don't.
Did you not hear Mike Malone 2 weeks ago? Shane, did I send you that clip?
You did. Let me get it here.
Yeah, the one about him calling people out.
Yeah. So
I've got it.
This was 2 weeks ago. Let's. If you don't know anything, you came in from your planet. You're from, where did I say you're from? Uranus,
yeah.
And you've seen the Nuggets' success and NBA World Champs a couple years ago, and then you heard their coach say this.
Won't hear it. They'll say coach is tripping. And the guys that maybe do really care will, because they're not going to go back and watch their minutes, because nobody watches their minutes. Nobody watches film. So we'll have to show them the film.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a guy that's lost the locker room at best.
Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm right.
I mean, that is wild.
Yeah, to say that out loud.
Yeah. I mean,
2 weeks before the playoffs start.
Yeah, I mean,
as a 4 seed,
they're not gonna go back and watch their minutes.
I mean, nobody watches film.
Nobody's watching film.
Yeah,
they'll say coach is tripping.
Which was funny to hear him say that. Because if he'd have went into character, like if he'd have pulled a Ravi and changed his voice,
me,
man, they say, "No, I'm not even gonna do it." I mean, I could, but
you're allowed.
Oh, thanks.
Well, because you're the one talking about it.
They'll say coach is tripping.
You brought the segment up. So.
He kept it super generic. There was no switching.
Man, coach is tripping.
See, you can't help yourself.
That one I did on purpose.
And who was that? I want to know what player that was. Do that again, Ravi.
Man, coach is tripping.
They'll say coach is tripping.
I was doing my Mike Malone.
That's.
Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm right through the back.
Childish. You'd really do need. Do they have medication for that? Where you can just not say what's inappropriately in your head?
I don't think so. If they have it, I haven't found it. Maybe it's a side effect of the insulin.
Yeah.
Maybe there's
keep watering the bamboo.
Maybe there's some like unreported side effects from being on 30 years of insulin.
No. Being nuts.
Yeah, it's like.
So they'll say Ravi's tripping?
They'll say coach is tripping.
Yeah, they'll say it just like that too. Ravi is tripping.
I mean, that was all I needed to know.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. No, I don't think they.
How about the players saying that the general manager and the coach talked about each other behind their backs, but didn't talk to one another?
Oh yeah, like that's There's a weird. I was just reading another one about somebody had not talked to their. Oh no, this was Buzz Williams and Trev. Apparently hadn't spoken in a year. That was the rumor.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like this isn't. That's not unusual in that sort of dynamic where guys just don't get along.
Oh boy.
It is unusual for a coach to just put it out there like that. He's also a guy that has been very vocal. Like when Mike Brown got fired from the Kings, because famously Mike Malone was also fired from the Kings, sort of unceremoniously, despite having a good year. He was very vocal about, hey, that's kind of a trash organization and a bad franchise, and they do things like this, and there's a reason they don't win. And not in so many words, but that's basically what he was saying.
Love the paraphrase there.
Only for the same thing to happen.
Eerily specific for a guy that said that's not really what he said.
I mean, it's what he said, but like I'm not. It's not a direct quote. But like that was the accurate gist of what he was saying. I don't think he specifically called them a trash franchise, is what I mean. But then the exact same thing happened to him, basically, at Denver after he wins the title. So, you know, like if you have an employee that thinks every boss he's ever had is a jerk.
Yeah, at some point it's you.
Like it might be a Mike Malone problem.
He sure does win a lot.
He does. I didn't say he was bad at his job.
Now you're going to put this on Malone?
No, here's the thing. I don't think he's bad at his job.
This dude rides for Cronin, but out on Malone. Okay.
No, I don't think I'm out. But okay, first of all, you have to coach college guys and NBA guys differently. If you just go out there and say nobody watches film, like you've probably lost the locker room and it's not coming back. If you're talking to Nikola Jokic, who like just is always thinking about horses.
Yeah.
You know, and Jamal Murray, who can't stay healthy, and Michael Porter Jr., who.
What happened to that little dude?
Jamal Murray?
No, the Oaktown, the horse guy. Gonna ride into the little.
Lil Nas X?
Little corny dude. Yeah.
I don't know.
His came and went.
I think he's still around.
All right.
He's out there.
On back to your nonsense.
This is where the magic happens.
I'm gonna stab you. We're out here.
Don't do that. That's pretty blunt. That would hurt.
I already broke it by slamming it the other day. Look,
yeah, like that would be. That's a jagged edge.
I don't even know why I did that. Did you used to listen to Jagged Edge?
No.
Really?
No.
Let's get married, baby. Let's get married.
Nah.
First of all,
I got range, man. You never listen to Jagged Edge?
I mean, I've heard jagged edge, but it was never like in my wheelhouse.
meet me at the altar in your white dress. We ain't getting no younger. We might as well do this.
I'm okay.
No.
I don't.
I believe
That's not.
love is the
That's not even really necessary. Like
love will find a way.
I can make a fool of myself on my own. I don't need anybody's
I can
help.
do it all
So
by myself.
Do I have to wait for you to do it?
Yes.
If you wait for me.
I hate this dude. Hey, I tell you what we're gonna do, Shane. I'm gonna give you like 30 seconds to say. Yeah. Funny dude. Does he crack you up? I think
Listen,
you two are a bunch
sometimes
of
he
idiots.
surprises me, and I'm just like, that was a pretty good one, Shane. I like that.
It's an Ashanti moment. Just foolish.
You big Ashanti guy.
Old, young Ashanti, not old.
Yeah.
Der.
Like Coach Carter Ashanti.
Yeah.
It's a good era. Like that's when she was super famous. Was
Yeah.
the Coach Carter era. 06,
Although although I don't know if she's close enough to my. Yeah, she was old enough.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. She's. I don't know what he was doing.
Coach Carter.
I'd have went and took care of the baby too. She was
Well,
gonna still get to go play basketball.
Sounds kind of like day and night to me.
Says day and night.
I just think it's funny when he like sets up his own jokes.
I think you're stupid for acknowledging it.
He like sets up his own drops.
Shane, this is where Ravi's gonna set the lineup, and you're gonna play a little bit of what we call bed music.
That sounds pretty smooth to me.
Thank you.
Shoddy.
I'm a smooth operator.
Not a bad song. I think the Shoddy was me. Shoddy. Yeah, that was me for sure.
And Smooth Operator was performed by
Jagged Edge. No, I'm just kidding.
Sade is her name.
Yeah, I wasn't
She's
doing
very, very, very good singer.
I wasn't
back in the day.
back in the day. I wasn't doing the artist. I was doing like
Oh, I know.
like
T-Pain.
Shoddy.
Well aware.
Coming up on the show today, 8 o'clock, we got John Rathouz, former PGA caddy. He's going to talk a little Masters with us. I got a little tidbit for you.
That's
Can't
great.
Can't wait to drop that knowledge for you.
Love your tidbits.
That's weird, man, but whatever works. Brian Edwards, Vegas Insider, coming up at 8:45. 9 o'clock, we got Michael Bruntz from Husker 24/7. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Live. Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, where you can come out and register to win a prize pack for the Masters this week. It's got sleeve of balls, hat, visor, some cool stuff, as well as tickets to the Pinnacle Bank Championship coming up later this summer. Make sure you get in here, join our loyalty rewards, and have a chance to win a great golf prize pack as you're out here watching, that golf tournament in Augusta that's coming up starting today.
We can't say that?
I think when you're promoting things, it gets a little iffy.
Huh.
In general, we can say the Masters, but
Not in relation to a promotion?
I think so. There's a little,
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Kind of like the big baseball tournament that happens in June.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we can say like college, we're going to College World Series. Isn't that great? But if we're like, hey, we're going to do a giveaway surrounding the college baseball championship.
I remember those days. Mechanics are always interesting.
Like people that work on cars or? I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. That wasn't even a funny one. I don't know.
You can't help yourself.
No, I really can't.
And do you know the key to being funny?
What's that?
Take it from a non-funny guy. I mean, why wouldn't you listen? It's all about timing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to practice.
I'm gonna lock in.
Gotta
Focus.
keep watering the bamboo.
Focus up.
Oh yeah, the old the watering of the bamboo.
No, but the mechanics of certain things like this are goofy.
The other thing about that is, are you ready do you have potentials? Like if I get your guy or you get my guy, how many guys do you have on the board for our picks?
I've got about 6 that I'm interested in.
6?
Yeah.
Does that include your long shot?
No, I haven't picked a long shot yet. I'm still looking at the board. I'm looking at the board. We got a little while. I'm still looking at the board.
There's a little firmness in your voice. You got a little hair on your chest?
Yes, I got a lot. I'm a hairy guy.
So how many guys are we picking?
Okay,
No,
Ravi.
just go through it.
3
Okay.
plus a long shot.
Is the long shot?
I told you, plus greater than 40-1. It's almost like you don't listen.
Is the long shot could the long shot be a fill-in if one of your guys doesn't make the?
No, the long shot will count.
Okay.
Everything counts.
Oh, they all 4 count.
Everything
Gotcha,
counts.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just can't take all
Favorites.
top level guys.
Okay. Gotcha.
That
So you're in like technically, Jordan Spieth would count as a long shot this year. He's a 40-1.
Yeah.
So that would count. But everybody else, you gotta. We're doing an aggregate, right?
correct.
So best total score out of our 4 golfers.
Yeah. Was 40-1 low enough?
I
don't think so.
There's only like 10 guys better than 40-1.
So
maybe 12.
Shane, let's go, and I'll give you some time. Let's go.
There's 15 that are better than 40-1. So that's probably not long enough.
All right. So you want to go 5,500? You want to go 55
Let's do
to
60-1.
60-1?
60-1 looks about
All
right.
60-1, Shane.
Yeah.
That's legit.
60-1 looks about right in terms of the list.
I like that. You like that?
Huh? You like that for data?
10 toes down, baby.
2 feet in.
No, that's.
No, it's Fred. Fred said that.
He said, gotta have 2. Did he say? Yeah, he said 2.
2. I said both.
Gotta have 2 feet.
Jump in with both feet. Got both feet in. Got 10 toes down.
That's all right. I'm not gonna hate on the cool points. He's still my guy.
He's got that cheddar in his pocket. That cheese. He got cheese in his pocket.
They'll say coach is tripping.
You don't get any cool points.
They say coach is tripping.
Stop
Coach is
talking
tripping.
like that.
Wait, so you don't want me to talk the other way?
What's the other way?
When you say I go into character, I have a lot of character, DB.
Oh,
It's hard to tell which one is even me. Like, there's just a lot of voices in here.
Well,
We're out here, right? Really more of a sparkling guy myself. We're talking about wines there.
that's just weird.
Not water. I'm not a big sparkling water guy. I know you are. You love sparkling water.
Yeah, I do.
That's not really my go-to. The bubble.
I don't know what you have against bubbles.
No, I like bubbles. There's usually not enough flavor in the sparkling water, so
Yeah.
it just feels like spicy water, and I don't like it.
Spicy?
Yeah, the bubbles kind of sting a little bit sometimes. They're a little.
Hey, this will be the last time that this will probably happen this year. There's a team that has the most wins in their division, and they're not in first place.
In baseball?
Correct. Who would that team be?
I'm not going to look. It's going to be either the Cubs or the Dodgers because they've got 2 more games than everybody else.
One of those teams is in first place.
The Cubs are. So it's got to be the Dodgers.
It is the Dodgers.
Yeah. Because your winning percentage is going to be goofy because you got more games in right now.
Correct. They are trailing the Fathers and El Gigantes.
Yeah, it's weird that you're in third.
Yeah.
That's what's weird, right? Because like every once in a while, it's like, oh, they
I
played
told
one
you
more
the season's
game.
over. 94 win total.
How many games we played so far, DB?
14.
15?
14.
15?
Mm-hmm.
We're not even 10% of the way through the season. I'm going to need you I know right now you're kind of all Creed. You're 6 feet from the ledge. I need you to step back a little bit.
Maybe 6 feet. I'm so far down.
Yeah, I need you to step back a little bit from that ledge.
Wonder where they came up with 6.
Well, I imagine it was you're like in a grave. You're 6 feet from the ledge.
Every time I hear 6 feet deep, do you know what I think of? You won't, because it's way past your genre.
What's that?
The Ghetto Boys.
I'm sorry, what? You say kettle or ghetto?
Ghetto.
Okay.
Yeah. They used to sing a song called 6 Feet Deep.
Yeah.
There's far too many of us dying. Yeah. It's a really, really good song.
We're going to look up.
It was actually, for as morbid as the title, it's fairly like, hey, we need to be better.
Oh, I was spelling ghetto wrong.
How do you, were you hooked on phonics? It's Ghetto.
That's not how the band spells it.
No, I know. They're Geto.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I was spelling it correctly, and then I was looking for them to see if I knew any other songs, since you blasphemed my cultural knowledge.
That's a little harsh.
Good morning again.
You questioned my cultural knowledge?
Yes.
And so
I mean, it's super sus.
Oh, I know Scarface and Big Mike.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Big Mike is like an activist now, isn't he?
How do you not know the most famous?
Who, Willie D?
She shot me in the eye. Bushwick Bill.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
That's Shane, reincarnated.
He's a strange looking individual.
Bushwick Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little person.
Like an actual?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know if you were just like, because some people are littler than others.
That's not a word.
Littler?
Is littler a word?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Littler?
Yeah.
Why don't you just say smaller?
Littler?
Littler? Who says littler?
I think littler is a word.
I'm not going to take you to task. I just wouldn't use it. It sounded weird.
So there's some people that are smaller than others, and then there's actual little people, which I believe is the term that they prefer to go by at this point.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Well, I have to ask, but
never mind.
Oh, that's cold-blooded.
I don't know.
This is why you need to watch the show, because there's some visual stuff that you might miss out over
that. I don't even think you could do that.
What? I was just seeing if you had any drops for us.
Got him!
On this particular subject. Like if littler's a word or not.
I don't.
But Bushwick Bill is an actual, whatever the proper term is.
Yes.
Not full-grown person. Full size.
Correct.
Fun-sized? I don't think that's what you call them either. That's candy bars.
I do have a drop for it.
People love the long shots.
I don't think that applies here. That'll apply later when we're doing Masters picks, 60-1 or better. No, I'm not familiar with Bushwick Bill.
Do you like my people today?
Yeah, who we got?
What do we have? Why are they on the show?
Okay, so we got To Kill Shorts, my guy.
So what is it with your affinity with Coach Shorts? Let's start there.
I just like him. He seems cool. He seems like, and I don't mean cool as like I want to hang out with him. He seems like a cool customer. Like
You did love his interview.
Yeah, I thought he did really well in the presser. He seemed very
pressure-ish.
He seemed like measured, but not withholding necessarily, and that's hard to do. That's a fine line to walk. And you know me, I'm very hard on coaches and pressers because I think they should be better, and especially as a guy that's young and a position coach who probably doesn't have as much practice as, I don't know, like Rick Pitino answering questions or whatever. I was impressed. I thought he did a really good job. I thought he told us stuff without revealing too much, but he was also like he kept it in the wheelhouse of what he wanted to talk about and didn't seem flustered, despite the fact that this is a much different type of job than he had at Kentucky. You know, like Nebraska, like if he was an assistant basketball coach at Kentucky, he'd have a better sense of what Nebraska football is than what he came from. So I just thought it was good.
Yeah, I do like the way, at least on the surface. I don't know enough to be hanging out in the hallways and stuff, but I do like the way they interact, and I think that's part of it, right? He doesn't need to be micromanaged because he's clearly aware of what Coach Holgorsen wants, and when you put that against or with Donnie and Marcus and EJ, like it's a well-oiled unit. Now, how good they'll be, I don't know, but I think the fit, because that's really important. I'm going to keep harping on that, because when games actually are played and poop hits the fan, and you're operating in controlled chaos. Remember, you got to lock in, stay locked, and move. They're already locked in, right? So it's can you get the rest of the part
Can
when
you
it gets
stay locked while you're moving?
when it gets a little chaotic, because you got to move together.
This came
It's
later.
Tough big boy conference.
This came later, but I do think there's something about a guy, and maybe it's the self-awareness of it or whatever, but a guy that can have his boss say, when did you know DeKill was going to be a coach? It says, when he ran a 4.7, and like you're cool with that guy, and you have a relationship where that's it seems like that's the type of relationship that him and Dana have. I think there's a good chance you're going to be able to weather some stuff, right? Because DeKill Shorts had a productive career as a college player. And for his coach to just be like, yeah, I knew that wasn't going to work out in the NFL pretty casually, when that I'm sure was a dream of his. Like
you had to be pretty happy to hear your guys your boy Bonner's name brought up.
I was really happy. I was really happy.
This is like 2.5 years now.
I was really happy when Mitch brought him up yesterday. I also
you have been a big Bonner guy.
I have. I think he's really talented. I think they haven't really figured out a good way to use him. But every time he touches the ball, almost something good happens.
Yeah.
Like anytime they've figured out a way to get him the ball, it's been productive and it's looked, I think, impressive. And so I don't know if he's a true wide receiver. I don't know if, I know Dana's used H-backs and stuff a lot in the past. I think that's more of a Heinrich role, but I don't know if Bonner gets used in some of those situations as well. But I think if he's able to find the right spot for him, Janarin Bonner can be really good. I've seen enough out of him in whatever limited sample size that I think that dude's a really good football player. And that's one of those guys that wouldn't surprise me if never really clicks at Nebraska for whatever reason, but then signs on as an undrafted free agent somewhere and just sticks around for 5, 6, 7 years because he's a good football player, right? There's guys like Janarin Bonner that Bill Belichick used to find all the time. They're like, didn't really do anything in college, or he was playing lacrosse or something, or he was a quarterback at Kent State, but he's a really good football player. We'll figure it out. That's how Janarin Bonner strikes to me. Like, you have to find a way to use that guy.
And I just think sometimes you have to just go through it like that, where it's not always.
I also like that he stuck it out.
Yeah, it's just not always rainbow. Did you hear? I was gonna say it's not always rainbows and butterflies. Did you hear Justin Fields talk about how his perspective changed after being benched in Pittsburgh? Like, sometimes you don't want people to have. This is really why you parent too. At least for me, right? You want your offsprings to be better than you, and so you love them hard, so they don't have to go through what you went through. But there's this crazy fine line where sometimes you just have to go through it so you can come out of the back end.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want them to fail. But
they sort of need to.
Yeah, we're so protective of it, right? We get them out of every little situation. Sometimes it's just like, hey, man, you got to own that one.
I know.
And he talked about how being benched, like he just grew up.
There was actually, it's funny that you bring up parenting there, because there was actually a study about parents that allowed more leeway for their kids to fail, and they didn't like bail them out of situations all the time. And if you can sort of control the chaos around it so they're not actually in danger, but you don't bail, like you let them figure things out, those kids end up being way more productive in the long run than kids that the minute that they get into trouble, their parents bail them out. But I also understand, and this is, again, part of the reason I never wanted to be a parent, is because I don't think I'd be very good at this, amongst other things. But I wouldn't be good at watching someone I care about struggle.
Right.
Right? Like that's really hard.
Oh, yeah. So the only thing that I think is worse than that.
What's that?
This is a little, but this can apply to teacher, student. It can apply to coach, player. The only thing worse than watching someone struggle is when you love someone or have a tremendous amount of admiration for someone, and they go out of their way. They go out of their way to root on failure.
Like the self-sabotage?
No, towards you.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, okay.
Right, where see, you'll see it. You can see it sometimes in relationships. It's like, wait a minute, why would you treat me like this intentionally? Right?
Yeah.
Or a student may have a teacher like it's their idol, and this teacher's like, you know what, Mark? I don't know if school's for you.
Yeah.
Right. It's just crushing. Right.
Yeah.
So that's really the only. Sometimes players believe in coaches so much, and coaches just won't give them a shot, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you believe in me?
Yeah.
Why don't you believe in me? And coaches have to go through that all the time. So that's really, really hard.
Yeah.
And it's really, those records are crazy. It's really the only comp that I can think of when it comes to, if you want to grow and have growth to be productive, those two feelings are, try to avoid them if you can.
Yeah, but there is the feeling of like watching guys struggle is something you can't really avoid. Like you do need to watch people struggle and go through it at some point. So,
I joke about it now, but I was fully prepared. This is just the dad, right? I was fully prepared to have Caleb pick the wrong school.
Yeah.
I mean, just ask me.
Yeah.
Nope, not that. That's not a good one.
Yep.
Nope, don't go there. Right. But I couldn't say anything.
Right.
It was killing me.
Yeah.
Right. For, as you know.
Yeah.
5, 6.
A long time.
Yeah.
A while.
So, yeah, that stuff is hard.
Yeah.
That stuff is hard.
And it's, it's difficult too because it changes. It's not static, right? So when Caleb's 2 years old, you have to bail him out more than when he's 12 years old. And so like it's a moving target.
Right.
Right. So it's same thing with a coach, right? You might have to let some guys go through it a little bit more.
Or try to guess how much it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you want to limit, you don't want it to be like a kill shot, right? Like whatever they're struggling with, you don't want it to be like David Carr in Houston, I think is a really good example. When he was a rookie, I think David Carr probably could have been a decent NFL quarterback.
I completely agree with you.
But he went through so much so early, I think it ruined him.
Yeah.
And that can happen to like younger people too.
You know who tells one of the best stories like that?
What's that?
It's incredible.
Is it Kwame Brown?
No, but in the same ilk as a high school phenom.
Yeah.
But this guy was also a really good pro for a little bit of time.
Jermaine O'Neal.
Dwight Gooden.
Oh, yeah.
Doc Gooden.
Yeah.
Never really was allowed to fail. Now, he was uber talented.
Yeah.
So then when he was turned to his own devices,
yeah,
he couldn't function.
Yeah.
It was just too much, too fast, because he always had somebody along the way to like, no.
Yeah, to bail him out.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tells a great story.
You can't insulate people too much.
And he couldn't pull out of it.
But if they're too young and aren't ready for it and you leave them to their own devices, that ruins them too.
People forget.
Right.
And then you pit him with, and your guy told part of the story in my former life. We had Daryl Strawberry in studio.
Oh, yeah.
And he talked about
Doc.
Just not ever really failing at anything.
Yeah.
And how how those chants. Remember that, Shane? A high level.
Oh yeah, I'll never forget that.
high level competitive athlete. How the first time they go through that, it's like,
which is really weird
this
in baseball.
foreign concept.
It's really weird in baseball because there's even when you're being successful, there's so much built-in failure. We've talked about that a lot.
And there's a lot of time in between the next opportunity.
Yeah, so you have to think about it.
Yeah.
Right. So even best case scenario, you're going, let's say all through high school, college. I know that they didn't go to college, but high school, college, minor leagues, whatever. Let's say you're going 2 for 5 every night. You're still failing more than you are succeeding, right? Yeah. So that's weird. It's weird in baseball when it happens. I get it in basketball and football and some of these other things. Because if you're a running back, you've never had to really work that. Like when Derrick Henry tells a really good story about getting to Alabama, he's like, I didn't have to do any of this, man. Like, chill.
I don't know, man. But what is this pass protection stuff?
Yeah.
What did he say they told him? They just pitched him the ball and said right or left?
Yeah. He's like, I never had to do any of this. Give me a minute. I'll figure it out, but give me a minute. Like there's some of that in there. And obviously Derrick Henry was built to endure and get through the struggle a little bit, but it is weird when it happens in baseball. Like, I don't know how you get to that point in baseball and never have struggled enough to figure it out, to have to get through it. I don't know. We're going to talk to John Rathouz about the Masters, talk about failure. There's a lot of it in that in golf, too, coming up next year on Hurrdat Sports Live. Kicking off hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, joined now by John Rathouz. He's a former PGA caddy, here to talk a little Masters. What's up, John?
What's up, guys? Always nice to make the cut at the Masters. Thanks for having me on.
Well, shoot. Well, unlike our just like our pool today that we're going to have later on after the show, you're our first pick. It was kind of a no-brainer.
I love that. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I've been doing a little bit more deep research here the last couple of days. It's always a fun week.
There is zero making the cut. We're like, is he going to be our shuffler? Is he Rory? No, he's clearly the fave, isn't he?
Yeah. I think Scheffler's the betting fave.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I guess we could start there. We like low-hanging fruit, John. Coming off the injuries, he says he feels healthy. He doesn't sound great, but it's Scheffler, right? So what are we going to get from him, really? Would you start with Scheffler when you're addressing this field?
Man, we've all kind of got the sniffles this week, don't we? I don't know. It's, he could win at any point. He's shown us that. He's still the best player in the world. Rory's nipping at his heels. He's won twice already this year. Scotty hasn't won yet, the slow start with the injury. So, when you start looking at the odds of, winning 3 Masters in 4 years, that really doesn't happen. And so, if you just kind of dismiss it that way and say, I don't know if he's going to keep sustaining that level of success, then for me personally, it's okay to not talk about Scotty too much this week. He could go prove us all wrong. I'm more focused on Rory, but that's kind of how I am every year here.
So, John, I heard this little stat about Rory, and you can tell me if it means what I think it means or not, right? So I heard that typically Rory's advantage comes off the tee in terms of where he gains the most strokes. And I believe last year that percentage was 51%. This year it's actually down to 37, I think. Yet he's still leading the tour in driving. Does that mean that he's just gotten that much better everywhere else, or am I reading that wrong?
No, yeah, I saw that same stat, Ravi, and those guys at Live From just crush it, every night. They're really good. I've had Paul McGinley on my podcast, and he does a great job, and so does Brandel and Rich Lerner. And so, I think they're just illustrating there how much more of a complete player that he is now than he used to be. So that's certainly going to come in handy this week, where it's just kind of a true test of, everything in your bag, particularly your short game. And I think one interesting thing they made the same point there last year, which is really under the radar, was a little bit news to me because I haven't been following as closely, but he changed his golf ball in the offseason.
Oh, okay.
So he's got a ball that it spins a little bit more, kind of more like a ball Tiger would like to play. And it's kind of forced him to become a better wedge player, which has always been an issue for him in the past. It gives him a little bit more flexibility to move the ball around. So I thought that was kind of a sneaky, cool fact that's contributed to some of his success this year.
John, let me ask you something. It's, excuse me, it's rare that in this stage of someone's career that's been as good as Rory without the signature big win since whatever it is, 14 maybe.
Yeah.
That we talk about the mental approach. With Rory, we know it's not talent. So why do you think he gets the benefit of the doubt this late in an already successful career emotionally?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, the way you put it, too. He's shown us that he can do it. And he's still winning at a high level. I mean, he won the Players, a month ago, which is, the best field in golf. So he's not just kind of like receded into the background. He's continuing to be dominant, and he kind of seems to like let it kind of fall off his shoulders, but we know that he kind of carries it around at the same time. So that's what's so interesting about this challenge. I think he's up to the task. I think he's still going to win major championships, Damon.
Yep.
I think I would probably like him a little bit more this week if he had already kind of knocked off a major somewhere else. Like if we would hit fast forward to next year and say he goes out and wins the Open Championship this year in Northern Ireland, which would be a heck of a story. And then people would just be like, oh, well, he's going to win Augusta next year. Like, no problem. Like, he's got that off his back. So it makes the task this week that much tougher for him to complete the Grand Slam and stuff. He's working with Bob Rotella on his mental game. He's got his faithful caddy by his side. He seems to be in a good place compared to previous years. So he seems to be the most equipped that he's been to handle this situation. That one with Bryson last summer was real tough on him.
John, as you're sort of handicapping the field, how much value do you put in guys that have done it before or done it recently in terms of majors, but also wins versus, hey, they're finishing top 5, top 10 consistently? I know there's not a huge difference in terms of level of play between, say, a top 5 finish and a win, but it seems like we put a lot of stock in those extra couple spots. Like, how do you see that?
Yeah, it seems like, when you look back over the history of who wins this tournament this week, it often goes to guys that have won in this calendar year. So that is worth a lot. And often times goes to guys that have played well at Augusta before too. So those are two huge factors. I think a lot of times it's easy to just maybe even do a full calendar year reflection and go look at last year's majors and who finished in the top 10, and then maybe cash to win in some other tournament along the way. And those are the guys that really show up with a ton of confidence. So I like to reflect back to last year's majors, see who finished in the top 10, top 5, maybe even it's a guy that hasn't won a major before and then has some wins under his belt or a win under his belt in the last calendar year. Even better if you've done it in the spring and you're coming in, kind of starting to peak. So those are all important in terms of putting on the green jacket this week.
He's been up and down. I could be in the middle of the pack with a pick, but Victor Hovland is a guy that comes up quite a bit. He just won at Valspar. He missed 3 consecutive cuts before that, and I think at AT&T he was a top 25. When you look at the calendar year, the start in his game, is that anybody that you would kind of take a look at? And listen, it's 7-8 guys making picks. There's golfers, you get a long shot at. Is Hovland a guy that you would take a look at?
He wasn't on my radar as much, and I don't think he was on anybody's radar, really for the year until he kind of came out of nowhere and won, which he's capable of doing. He's one of the best players in the world. I think, his weakness, lies in the things that Augusta rewards the most, right? And we've seen some examples in the past of guys that maybe aren't the best putters winning here because they just rely on their ball striking and their short game. And the thing with the knock on Victor is that the short game is not world class and it's a little bit inconsistent. And so you can get away with that for 2-3 rounds, but you get a dicey chip on a Sunday afternoon with the Masters on the line, are you going to be able to kind of knock it up in there to tap in range or give yourself a good look? So I think that's the problem, with a guy like Victor. Now he could come out hitting the ball amazing and have a good week with the putter and run away with the thing. Now I think that would be the scenario for him. So I'm not as high on him this week, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him get in the mix.
These two yahoos are going to laugh at me because I back to the well. And it's not because my sister was a Cal Berkeley professor at one point either. Do I go back to the Colin well?
Yeah. I think you should. I mean, he's playing as good as anyone right now, and he has played as good as anyone in this tournament the last 3 years. So
putting. So you scared me again.
I talked about putting.
Yeah. Well, with regards to Hovland, and I know sometimes with him it's the blade down the stretch, and it's like Come on, just help me out here, Colin.
There's some interesting guys, though, Damon, that, like, for whatever reason, they show up at the Masters and they vibe with the greens, you know? There's another guy that's kind of deeper down that list, like a Corey Connors. Like, he's not a great putter, and he's got a feel for this place for whatever reason, and he's a tournament winner. He should be on your radar. So I think Colin knows how to handle these greens this week, and so I think he's a great pick. I mean, obviously, there's other people on him, and like he's one of the top like 4 favorites. So in terms of a return on your investment, that's not going to be as significant, but I definitely could see him winning.
John, as you kind of look at the field and you see who people are talking about and who people are high on, who's a guy that you think their game fits Augusta that isn't getting a lot of run right now?
I mean, the one for me is Justin Thomas. You know, and he's a ball striker. He's got an amazing short game. So he's the one that kind of wasn't really on my radar a lot heading into this. And then when I kind of started looking at, you know, some of the trends and possibilities, he really popped. You know, he hasn't won this year. He's been knocking on the door. He finished second at that Valspar. So he doesn't have that calendar year win. But man, is he playing good. Interesting storyline with him this week is like his caddy, the Reverend Matt Minister, great caddy, spent a long time with Patrick Cantley, injured his back on Monday. And so he says, hey, man, I can't do it this week. So what does JT do? But he picks up the phone and calls the guy that's best friends with Max Homa that just spent, you know, 10 years with him, and they just parted ways. And now Joe Griner comes out of the bullpen on a Monday to start caddying for Justin Thomas this week. So that's an interesting little caddy storyline to keep an eye on as the week unfolds.
Now, let me ask you something, especially with regards to JT's personality, because I think he only has the PGA under his belt in terms of
and he's got 2. He's got a PGA, maybe 2 PGAs. I know he's got 2 majors because he won it. We're up in Wisconsin, I think, and then he also won at Southern Hills,
17 and 22. So okay, so along those lines, is it good? I've got a producer over here that brought up Justin Thomas yesterday, and I kind of gave him this smile, like I don't even know how much Justin enjoys the moment sometimes, because you feel like when you watch his game, you listen to his personality, he apparently works pretty hard at his craft. Does a new caddy maybe, I don't know, lighten the load a little for how his game fits Augusta, and maybe if he feels pressure or no?
Yeah, I think what it does usually, especially when the caddy knows what he's doing, is he'll know when to step in, Joe, if he needs him. And if JT asks a question, he's going to have an answer because he's got some experience around there. So he knows his personality. So those are all great things. But what it does for Justin is it kind of puts the onus back on him. He has to take ownership of the situation. And it's like not in a way like he's forced to do it, but like it works. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, hey man, you're the golfer, you're the one hitting the shots. You actually know what you're doing. You've got the goods. You don't need to like lean on your caddy as much. It's on you. And sometimes that brings out the best in guys.
John, I've always been curious with your background as a caddy and just sort of your relationship to the golf world. Like, how do you watch the Masters? How is that different from me and DB sitting down on the couch over the weekend and watching that? Like, how do you consume that?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Like I always tell people, if you get a chance to go, you know, that's amazing, and you go, right? And that changes your viewing experience when you then watch it on TV the next time. So that's one factor for people that have had the opportunity to go. You know, makes the golf course and kind of the picture comes together. So that's something that I have going. I do enjoy watching, you know, the strategy of things, and that's kind of how I watch it. But I'm like anybody else, like, you know, as a fan, you know, there's players and caddies that would love to be there this week that aren't, and that's the one where you kind of just sit back and you just go like, this is really fun to watch. So that's how I watch it. I really do study it still. You know, I've been there one time caddying. It's been 16 years now. And you never know when you might get a phone call or get a chance to get there again. But at the same time, it's like, I just like to kind of amass information on that place. I just find it kind of like a nice little audit of a college course for myself.
So I'm looking at, you know, part of the picks we get is anybody that's 60 to 1 or greater.
Yeah.
as a long shot. Does Justin does Dustin Johnson have one of these in him where he's just kind of hanging around towards the weekend?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
That's
They've
not
been
very
kind of
convincing. I'll move on.
no. Yeah, it's just like he hasn't been competitive on the live. So, for him to kind of all of a sudden pop, I would be more inclined to think that Phil would have a better chance than Dustin at the moment.
And
I
what
mean, Phil's been playing pretty good the last month, and he can get going at any point. But that doesn't seem overly reliable either.
Are you in on the Sep Strack? Are you in on that buzz?
I am. I'm on that one. Yeah.
Okay.
I like that. He's been playing really good the last year. His ball striking numbers are off the charts. Experienced caddy. He's played well there before. Only one Masters under his belt, but a 16th to go. And he seems to have the nuts if it gets up against it where he's going to be like, okay, it's my week. Now, is it a slam dunk? No. But, in terms of guy coming in playing good, I like it.
You like either of the Cams? Smith or Young?
I was intrigued by Smith just because of his record here, but then you look at his form and some of the things that he also needs, like a ball striking sort of thing, don't seem to be there at the moment. So he could kind of fake it around there for a couple days, probably.
Faking at Augusta.
Right.
I have the talent.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't that be fun? I don't know. Some other guys, I kind of like always romanticize about, Tommy Fleetwood winning a Masters. Butch Harmon's been in his camp for the last 2.5 years. He picked him this year. Of course, he's going to try to pump his guy up, but he's got a good record there. I think Russell Henley's interesting, but another guy that doesn't close at a high rate, but got a win recently. I think Bobby McIntyre is interesting
on him.
Yeah, he's been playing at a super high level and has won a couple times. He's a lefty. Lefties seem to like it. I saw Johnson Wagner was really excited about Akshay this week, which was like, whoa. And he just finished third at the Players and putts and chips the ball well. So that's interesting. And you never know when a guy like Patrick Cantlay will finally put it together. I kind of was on him more to be in the mix. Then there's some first timers like a JJ Spawn. Played well here in his debut, and Thomas Dietrich is teeing it up for the first time at Augusta. He's been a factor in majors already in his career. So those were kind of some of the guys that jumped off the list at me.
If you generally speaking, if you're going to cap a field and you only get a couple of adjectives, are you taking talent or temperament?
Yeah. Well, I would say talent. Yeah. It's just a lot more easy to like look at who's going to actually possibly be in the mix based on talent. And then of those guys, who's got the temperament to get it done.
I know a lot of people like Russell Henley as the dark horse.
Yeah. The luck broke his way finally. Like, I think if you look at him statistically, like people are like, you can't be that unlucky. He's putting so well right now. His caddy is a tremendous putter himself. Good caddy, had a major win with Jimmy Walker. Like, they're really vibing right now. But gosh, Damon, like, you love to study that. Ravi, you too. Like, when you get on the back nine and you start, thinking about the responsibility of putting that jacket on and pushing that trophy up in the air and all that comes with it, like some
that's why
dudes can't handle it.
Temperament,
I know.
It's something happens on Sundays in the afternoon.
John, there's a guy that's been talked about a lot. His odds are pretty good. We haven't mentioned him yet here today.
Bryson?
Ludwig Oberg. Where is he at for you, and what are his chances? Because he's minus money to make top 20. He's he's under 20-1 odds to win the thing. How do you feel about Ludwig?
Yeah, he came out and finished second in his debut last year, and he's gonna win a Masters in his career. Absolutely, like that guy's so good, and his temperament is amazing, isn't it? Like just how he views things and handles things, and obviously he's a young guy that doesn't have any scar tissue yet, so this is the time to get cooking. He's been a little inconsistent this year. So I think that's where people maybe wouldn't like quite have him as high on their radar, but wouldn't surprise me one bit for sure.
All right, who you going with, John?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go Rory, and I'm gonna go JT. Those will be my two ride or dies this week.
Got a
to
dark?
get it done. Yeah, dark horse. That's a little further down the board. That I think actually would be okay with the situation on Sunday. I'll say Corey Connors.
Was it right to have this conversation and not talk about Shoffley?
Yeah, I think it's fair. I mean, he did have some amazing ball striking numbers at Valspar, I believe. And he admittedly is like, hey, I'm inconsistent right now. I'm coming back from this injury. But that was nice to see. And then his putter's been his weak point, which is normally his strong point. So he's a guy that, could sneak in there and be like, he's another guy that probably will win a Masters in his career. So
I'm gonna have to get over my love fest with him because he's my favorite non-Tiger golfer. But
it's a great one to like.
I almost
Damon.
picked Jason Day because
Jay Day.
Yeah.
I got his Malbon hat on right now, man. He's styling, walking down the fairways. I'll be excited to see what he's wearing this week. But
he hasn't played. He's been okay. I'm just thinking, God, do I give him one more shot? I don't think he can hold up over 4 days.
That's the thing. Like, if you go look at these guys' records, and they're amazing records, right? Top 10s, top 5s. His kind of like bleeds out a little bit more recently. Like, you look at like times that they've actually broken 70 and stuff like that, and how they've like put their tournaments together. Like, hey, I backdoored a top 10 versus like I had a chance to win. Like, those are the trends that I feel like usually continue. And someone might knock a hole in Rory and be like, well, why are you picking Rory then? So I think Rory's at a different point in his career. Jason's a little older. He's still highly competitive, really good, having a decent go of it the last year or so. So he can definitely be a factor. But like same thing for like Justin Rose, right? And Jason Day. He's a little bit older, but it's like always shows up. Is he going to get it done? And it's like maybe it's not in the cards. So it's probably easier for me, like when I'm looking at that, like I'm with you. It's like, oh, why not Jay Day? Like it's easier for me to get off that train these days than it is to stay on it.
That's John Rathouz, former PGA Academy podcast. Quiet, please. John, we appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the weekend.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me on, guys.
That's John Rathouz. We will talk to Robin Washut coming up next. There's some Nebraska ball things going on.
Yeah, filling out a roster quickly.
They were going to need a lot of guys, and they're putting them together. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. More Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next. We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you, make sure you get out this weekend to the Omaha Supernovas. Not this weekend, my pardon. Next weekend, 4/17. I forgot what day it was, DB.
Well,
just skipping ahead.
I know, it's kind of what you do.
A week from today, make sure you get out there and get to supernovas.com. They'll be back twice next weekend, Thursday and Saturday, the 17th and the 19th. Get your chance. We're running out of opportunities to see your Omaha Supernovas this season. It's coming to an end faster than you realize. Get to supernovas.com for tickets. It's kind of funny off air there, DB. We're going to talk to Robin Washut here about Nebraska basketball. But as we kind of were recapping our segment with John, we just kept coming up with guys like, oh, we didn't talk about this guy. We didn't talk about this guy. It's strange how many guys have a chance to be in it.
Yeah. You said 30. I said 20. It's probably 25 to 30, I'm guessing.
Probably. And if you go.
I mean, no Rom.
And I said to win.
No Rom, no Kepka, no Matsuyama.
How many guys do you think can finish in the top 5? Because that number's huge.
Oh, I know.
Right? Like you're talking 50?
I mean, but look at the odds, though. I mean, they're not just paying those kinds of odds with jump change.
I mean, the top 5, there are, let's see, how many guys are, I mean, there's a ton of dudes that are under 10 to 1 to finish in the top 5. Mm-hmm. You got to get past Sepp Straka to get to a guy who's more than 10 to 1 to get top 5, to get a top 5 finish.
It's highly competitive.
And so you're talking about anybody, and that's our line for the winner, 60 to 1 at Sepp Straka. So you're talking about you have to get past that guy to get worse than 10-1 odds to finish in
Just
the top five.
Yeah.
And that's so like the variance between a win and a top five. That's kind of why I asked that question of John, of like how much do you look at the top five versus a win on trying to predict these things? But the number of dudes that could sneak into the top five is crazy
deep.
That's why this is so hard to handicap.
Deep
today, Junior. I think you big
no.
No. You're not a Billy Madison guy?
I am. I like Billy Madison.
Yeah.
I think it didn't age as well as I wanted it to, but it still has some funny parts.
Yeah, it's still pretty funny. You got to take it in context of the time. Just like the context of the times we're in with Nebraska basketball. That's why we got to talk to Robin Washut. Robin, how are you this morning?
Doing well. How are you guys?
Good. Ooh, so subdued. There's those melatones. Robin, are you a big Masters guy?
Not particularly. Like I'll lock in like on the Sunday, but I've got buddies that like this is their Super Bowl. Like they throw a Masters party and like tailgate and do all these things. So like I've done that before and it's fun, but I'm just gonna be real. I'm just there for the hang. I'm not there
the snacks. What's on their menu? Sounds like you might have some all right buddies.
Well, I mean, like there's like typical like grilling affair, but then they also do like the pimento and cheese sandwiches and the Arnold Palmer cocktails, which we like to call John Daly's. We can throw some booze into an Arnold Palmer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so you can get creative with it.
All right, so let's get right to it. Fresh off and listening to Coach Hoiberg all year, I didn't really understand the narrative. You may know more, right? Because I know you heard this, where as the season's unraveling and they're not in the tournaments, I don't know if these guys like each other, and they don't appear to like each other. And there were these undertones, right? And I'm like, well, why does Coach Hoiberg keep saying he enjoyed coaching this team? How did he get them to show up at the Crown for all intents and purposes with almost a full roster? Like, at any point, were you buying it, or did you hear that narrative?
I mean, yeah, I heard it, and I guess it makes sense because a lot of times team chemistry isn't that great when you're on an extended losing streak, and they had a few of them. And when times are tough, it's not all happy, good vibes, everybody's best buddies. People are trying to figure out what's going on. And if a guy's struggling, then, there might just be inherent resentment. Like, come on, man, I'm doing all I can and I need help. Like there's stuff like that goes on with losing. But then, the flip side, when they were winning 6 in a row, everything was great. So I think that just kind of the roller coaster aspect of the season put them through some really high highs and some really low lows. And I guess the best quality about this team, looking back on it, is that despite all of the ups and downs, they were able to kind of finish the job and stick together when a lot of other teams, including teams that played in the Crown, did not do a good job of doing that. Right. Like they fractured and guys left and kind of did their own thing or ready to get out of there as soon as they could. Whereas, despite all the kind of turmoil and adversity that Nebraska had to go through, they stuck it out and they finished the job and they were able to end their season on a high note and win a little bit of money in the process. So that's probably I'm sure they went through their issues. I'm sure there was some disagreements and, maybe some issues in that way between, the roster, but none of it was enough to blow the team up. In cases where you look around college basketball, that could have easily happened if they didn't have the right group.
Yeah. We're looking at you, Georgetown.
Or Arizona State.
Yeah. I wasn't going to name names. But hey.
That's what I'm here. That's what I'm here for, Robin. So I do wonder, though, if you understand, I guess it seems like there's at least a section of the fan base that has some frustration that they weren't able to lock in the way they did at the Crown just a little bit earlier to change some of their postseason fortunes. Like, where do you land on people that are like, yeah, the Crown was great and it was super fun to end the season on a win and get a trophy, but it would have been really cool to see that kick in about a month earlier.
Yeah, that's 100%. I think everybody from Fred Hoiberg down to the players would tell you the exact same thing. Like, I mean, they had every opportunity to do something really special with this with this season and do something that had never been done. And they were legitimately 5 shots away this season, especially late in the year, from being a 9 seed in the tournament. But game after game down the stretch, they just couldn't do it. And so that, as good as the feeling was about winning the crown and having some postseason success for the first time in a long, long time, there's still that part of them that wonders, what if? What if we could have made 1 or 2 more plays, in those games that would have punched our ticket to the NCAA tournament, and they didn't make them. And so, again, it's kind of a mixed bag a little bit, where you feel good about, going to Vegas, having that success, being able to win on that stage, and all the positives that came out of that. But then you also still kind of dwell on the missed opportunity that this season was, because they had a chance to do something a lot bigger than winning a secondary postseason tournament.
So it's been a heck of a run. I'll let you piece this thing together on how quickly it came together, but I couldn't be happier. Little Boy Blue, I've seen him play in person with St. Thomas. I get 2 guys that I traveled with for AAU ball, and Will Cooper and Price Sanford. This happened in 7 days, but it really wasn't 7 days. It's announced all over 7 days, but man, how much did they have to split time and Zoom, and you're technically down a coach? This fairly impressive, or just cost of doing business?
Yeah, I think it kind of shows that things don't start when the transfer portal window opens. This wasn't that Monday the 24th hit, and all right, well, who are we going to go recruit? Let's make some calls and see what's up.
A little alarm goes off.
The back, they have it scheduled in their calendars. Oh, hey, here we go. No, it just shows you that this stuff is months in the making. The back channel, third-party recruiting, especially now with how heavily involved agents are. This stuff is, mid-season, guys have a pretty good idea of whether or not they're going to stick it out or shop themselves around. And, word gets out, and agents contact coaches or, whatever it may be, collectives, and get kind of the word out, and that initially gets the ball rolling. So, when you get to the actual portal window, things are pretty much close to done, or at least narrowed down to maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 schools. And so that's why things happen as quickly as they do, just because this process had already been in the mix with a lot of these guys for a long time. And so, but still, you got to seal the deal. And, when it comes down to decision-making time, and guys make it official that they're in the portal, and coaches can actually, one-on-one talk to these guys, whether it's Zoom or phone calls or on-campus visits or in-home visits, whatever it may be, that's kind of where you finish the job. And so a lot of what they had to do in Vegas was finishing the job on these guys. Price Sanford, it was funny. Here's a funny little anecdote. So I put in my prediction down in Vegas that he was going to come to Nebraska. He told me after the fact, he was like, when you put that prediction in, I was still 50-50. So I guess you knew where I was going before I did.
So I wasn't going to fanboy it on social media. I was going to tell you, Robin, I was like, that takes some serious stones. Because you were
I was
the
down
first.
in Vegas, so I was ready to let it ride.
You ready to gamble?
So,
No,
something about the strip got to me, and so
I came back, and
shows you.
I said to her, I'm like, I know the family, and I wouldn't even have said that. It was ballsy.
So it was a hunch, and then luckily it worked out. As sometimes predictions don't always work out. This one did.
And I like those too. You got to be willing to be wrong, right? That was sometimes you guys know, and you'll do it anyway.
Right. It's not a guarantee, and you put a percentage next to it too. So I put I think mine was 60 or 70%. So it wasn't a guaranteed stone cold lock of the century of the week. It was it was just an educated hunch. So anyway, that example is that process with Price. This isn't something that just started. There was conversations. They had a relationship that goes back to when they were just little kids.
He kept calling him Fred. It was giving me the willies. I was like, stop it, Price.
Yeah, but that's what they had to do in Vegas. They had to finish the job on Price Stanford. They had to, with all these guys they brought in, they had to make sure that they closed the deal on that. So that was a lot of the work that they did while they were in that tournament. And, there were times when they'd practice and then Fred would have to just like bolt out of practice and get on the phone and do a Zoom call or, make a phone call. And so like, I don't even want to know what his screen time and what his minutes were while on that trip, because they had to do a lot of virtual work just because they weren't on campus to do, some of the normal traditional recruiting process. But they made it happen. They were able to get a pretty strong group together. It's a unique group to where like it's not necessarily loaded with big time star power, but there's a lot of really good players that can do a lot of different things. And so a versatile class that, I think that they had it looks like they had a pretty good plan of what they wanted, who they wanted, and the type of team they wanted to build with so many big shoes that they had to replace.
Robin, as you kind of described this class, and it is different from what we've seen other schools do and from what we've seen Nebraska do in the past, how would you describe what you think their plan is by putting these guys together, whether it's Cooper, Blue, or Sanford, or as I affectionately call the Oogie Boogie Man?
Yeah, Oogie. Yeah, we'll just call him Oogie. I haven't mastered that name.
I'm working on it.
Well, Bearcat only took 2 months, so give us time.
We got some time on Oogness.
All right. With the class, shooting, that's the number one hallmark, and that had to be addressed. They were one of the worst shooting teams of any power conference team in the country last year. They just didn't have enough firepower, and they had to upgrade that, and they did so. They got a bunch of 40% three-point shooters that, when you look at the kind of the picture, I think Rink Mast was the center point. Like they wanted to build a roster that would complement his game. And so when you look at the half-court offense with Rink in the high post, I think they wanted 4 shooters around him at all times, to where Rinkin himself is a three-point threat if nobody guards him, and then he can distribute with a bunch of shooters. And then all of a sudden, when you have a bunch of shooters, the lane opens up, and all those back cut passes that Rink was dishing to Casey 2 years ago start to become much more a factor in the offense. I could count probably on 2 hands the number of legitimate back cut layups Nebraska got this year, because they didn't have any shooting and teams just packed the paint. So that was a first and foremost priority with this class, was to help their shooting. And I think they did that. But then also all these guys can, do different things too. Like, Marcus can play the 1 or the 2. Price can play the 2 or the 3, and he can even bring the ball up. That's what Fred said yesterday, that Price could initiate offense. Rink can bring the ball up and initiate offense. You go down, basically everybody, maybe outside of Oogie, can get a rebound or get a turnover and lead the break. And so that's kind of like where the big thought was, because of the point guard struggles this past year, they were going to go out and get a true clear-cut point guard. I don't think that's the plan. I think that they want 5 guys on the floor that can take the ball up the floor and initiate the offense. And, with the guys they brought in, I think all those guys are capable. And so it's going to be kind of, I think, going back to the roots of Fred Hoiberg's system, where you have 5 guys that can all shoot, 5 guys that can all distribute and initiate offense, and then 5 guys that can defend multiple positions. And so it seems, just on paper, that they've gone a long way in kind of getting back to that style where, the last few years they've kind of had to adjust their personnel a little bit.
Robin, let me get you out on this, because I think it's interesting how these relations can kind of come back around. And I remember Will Cooper in particular, kind of his recruitment. I also remember Price's real time. And you mentioned the previous relationships with Mass being the offensive initiator at times when he was playing. You've got a stretch in Coop that can shoot it. You've got a Sejan and Price that obviously give you some wings that can dial from distance. How do you think Nebraska wants to play heading into this year, given they've been pretty defensive minded, but this could
Yeah.
be a pretty good shooting basketball team.
Yeah, and I think that's the way Fred wants to play. Again, they go back a couple of years ago with the Derek Walker, Greasel, Vandemel team. Like they had to kind of slow it down and play to their strengths, and they just weren't a run and gun type team. They had some guys that could shoot, but that really wasn't their style. And when they were good, they were kind of a defensive minded, more kind of a plodding offense that was more ball control oriented. And then, the next year, you had Casey, and Casey kind of changed the dynamic of that a little bit, where suddenly you do have that dynamic perimeter threat, and you had Rink that can do different things and make defenses have to adjust. Last year, they didn't have either of those guys, and so they had to kind of adjust around Bryce and Juwan, and like 80 to 90% of their offense kind of revolved around those guys, and the inconsistency with finding a third option was really kind of a defining point of this season. So I think that they realize that, to play the way they want, they got to have 5, 6, 7 dudes that can come out and go off on any given night. And you're seeing that with the offensive firepower they brought in, that this could be a team where your leading scorer is at like 15 a game. But then you also have like 5 or 6 other guys.
With 9, 10.
Yeah, they're in like 8 to 12.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I think that's going to be what you're looking at this year, where you're probably not going to have a all-time leading scorer, first-team All-Big Ten guy, but you're going to have, a 6 or 7 man rotation of guys that can go off and win you a game on any given night. So I think that's the kind of ideal picture of what Fred and the staff have tried to build this offseason. And, guys come in and do what they're supposed to. I think this should be a significantly upgraded offensive team.
That's Robin Washut, Husker Online. Robin, we appreciate the time, and enjoy those pimento cheese sandwiches at whatever party you end up this weekend.
yeah, the Sunday. So we'll see that, because they go all weekend, and it's crazy to me. Like they do the Friday. Yeah, it's like I can't do that.
It's a little
man.
aggressive.
All right, I'm good for like one really good day, but like when you start taking up multiple days on my calendar, that's a little too much for me.
You're too chill anyway, Robin. You don't seem like the type to just be going crazy over an extended period of time.
I used to. Don't get me wrong. Like there were days in my youth when that was not a problem whatsoever. But you know what? I'm an old man with kids now, and the totality of a weekend like that is a little too much for me.
Oh, my man.
Father Time is undefeated. Robin Washut, we appreciate it. As always, we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Robin.
Yep, see you guys.
Let's jump right to our guy, Brian Edwards. He's waiting on us. Vegas Insider, major
dollar waiting on a couple of dimes.
He's right here. He's joining us live here on Hurrdat Sports. What's up, B?
Good morning, gentlemen. How we doing?
There we go. Oh, we're good. How are things? You hanging in there? You spending any of your Floridian change?
The bookie will be here tonight.
Wow.
So not yet, but I have seen the 17-year championship drought end this week, and so everything here is fantastic. I am going to go to Tallahassee tonight and then make the drive to the Hard Rock in Fort Lauderdale to meet some buddies and a couple of wild-ass married cousins that like to go nuts. At blackjack tables, Hard Rock in Fort Lauderdale, and then UFC 314 Miami Saturday night. So all's good in my world, fellas.
I'm just glad you're going to be able to make it to God's country, Tallahassee.
My sister lives there. That's the only reason why.
He's like, hey, don't get it twisted. It's by accident.
Yeah. This is just like a 2 hour get 2 hours of the drive out of the way tonight.
I also have some questions about being up in the Panhandle and what married cousins mean, but I'm not going to get into that.
These two cousins are married and they'll be without their wives this weekend. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
All right.
No, they're not married to each other. Oh, God. Sorry. Yeah.
Hey, listen, B, let me ask you something, though.
I'm glad I corrected you.
Because in Vegas, you were pretty chill, and maybe it was because you were kind of working too. What's your, if you're going to get loose, I mean, you've got this thing mapped out, so clearly you're getting in the right frame of mind. What's your go-to beverage?
Oh, Budweiser bottles, but I'll move to maybe a little vodka later in the evening.
Bud bottles.
Bud Heavy, baby.
Got to go with the diesel.
We've got a couple of your drops too, where you were talking about Budweiser in the bottles too. I should have known.
Yes.
All right, what are we starting with, man? I don't know how you go anywhere near the NBA. Some of these lines I've seen lately, 17, 20, teams blowing 24-point leads. I mean, are we just glutton for punishments, or how careful do you have to be?
So I am looking at my record here. So I've only made 7 NBA plays in the month of April. And let's see, 1, 2, 3 of them have been Atlanta Hawks games over the total. And all 3 of those were wins. And I'm 5-2. So 2-2 outside of Atlanta. Basically, I'm just an automatic over player for the Hawks. And and the Hawks are motivated. So, Trey's playing, etc. And the over's on a 9-2-1 run for Atlanta to improve to 47-29-3 overall. But one of those 2 unders in the 9-2-1 over run, one of those 2 unders had 238 combined, and the push had 235 combined. So 10 of the Hawks' last 12 have had at least 234, and 11 have had at least 231. And it's 230.5 tonight. So let's go over on Atlanta, Brooklyn. And no, but I hear you, Damon. I'm not risking a whole lot on Vegas Insider. We have a little bonus system for every 15 days, and you got to have 15 plays minimum. I've only got 7. I got to get 8 in.
Yeah,
that's.
I mean, I hear you, right? You just don't want to do it to be doing it, but it's a miserable league sometimes.
No, I hear you. I did take the Clippers laying the 10 last night because Houston was going to play nobody, and the Clippers still had motivation. And I did the Jazz. I went 2-0 last night. I did the Jazz Portland over 229.5. It had 228 at the end of regulation that went to overtime. So I was living lucky on that one.
B, I know you didn't send us anything on this, but are you a golf majors better at all? You going to have any action on the Masters this weekend?
Nope, I know nothing about it. If the blackjack tables are good to me, I'm actually going to be hanging out with one of my buddies who is like Mr. Golf. So if the blackjack tables are good to me and he gives me something he likes, maybe. But I don't know anything about it. I don't pretend to be an expert by any means.
Let's talk UFC. What do we like?
Okay, I'm so undecided on Volkan Lopez. I watched a bunch of the media day interviews yesterday, but I had not gotten to Volkan Lopez yet. So I kind of want to, and I saw a picture of Volk, and he looks in great shape. I want to hear their interviews before especially since I'm going. And I've got a long car drive to listen to all that. So I'm undecided on that. Look, I know Jean Silva and Bryce. It could be Jean Silva in a first round knockout. Obviously he's got a huge advantage when the fight is standing, but I think Bryce has a huge advantage if he can get it to the ground. And Bryce's media yesterday was hilarious.
I don't think he's in. That's not an act either. I just think he's nuts.
Yeah, he's nuts. He's totally nuts. He's absolutely nuts.
Some guys, they kind of play into it. I'm like,
sure.
Yeah,
no, he's not leaning into it. That's him.
I think he's just like that.
Yes, he is from the sticks of Arkansas and all that entails. But anywho, I'm going to go with Bryce plus 205. I'm not saying risk a lot. Obviously, we got a 2-1 payout coming if we win. I just think his wrestling and his grappling will be superior, but he could get knocked out in the first round for sure. In fact, what is Silva to win in round 1? Let's see. Sorry, guys. Here we go.
No, you're okay.
Silva. Wow. Silva's he's plus 225 at Caesars, but he's plus 270 at FanDuel. Wow. You could almost play both of those. And
Silva to win in round 1 and sort of hedge yourself with a Bryce Mitchell overall.
Yeah, but hope Silva doesn't win in round 2 or 3 or decision. But yeah, you could do that. I mean, wow, they're both 2-1, but you could lose both though if Silva doesn't get it done in round one. But there's an idea. But I like Bryce. That's my play.
Who do you think has the better chin? Because they're both going to get hit. I get the sense you think it's Chandler because of more wars, but it's old. He's been in more wars. What do you like between Patty the Batty and Chandler?
Man, this is another one you could almost play two different ways because Chandler to win by knockout is plus 295 or plus 300. Patty's minus 150 straight. I mean, I think if it goes the distance, it's Patty. I think Patty can win by submission. I think Patty wins, but Chandler could certainly win by KO at any point in the fight. So, but I'm thinking Patty in a parlay with Krylov is plus 163. And hopefully Krylov, that's the opener of the pay-per-view card. Hopefully Krylov will have hit. And then you got the parlay pending going into the Patty fight. If you do the parlay for a lot more, like if you did it for 1.5 or 2 units, maybe you come back with a half unit on Chandler to win by KO plus 300. But my pick is Patty and Krylov in a parlay plus 163. If you wanted more action on it, see, I don't know that you get, because I think Patty by submission is his best route to a finish. Let's see, for him to win by submission is it's plus 240, plus 250, which is attractive. Inside the distance, but I don't think Pimlet's going to win by KO. I just don't see that. I think it's either by submission or by decision. But anyway, again, I'm just throwing out scenarios. But Pimlet and Krylov parlay plus 163 is the pick. But if you do it for a unit or unit and a half, you want to come back a half unit, Chandler plus 300 once Krylov hits, and plus 163 is just pending on Patty to get the outright win. I'm not against that strategy. But Patty and Krylov plus 163 parlay is my pick.
All right, I'm just hoping we get you back for next Thursday. I don't know if you remember this, but the last time you brought up wedding in a segment and we're going to celebrate. Now, this is different now because these are the cousins, but we were talking about a wedding. We missed your whole segment for a week. We had to put an APB out for you.
I don't remember this.
Oh, my good. Shane, do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
There was a wedding in Florida. And
like the wedding party started on Wednesday. I got
yes, and
I got you.
How many years ago was that?
Oh wow, I think I know the one because that would have been that would have been like
it was early. Might have been at Big Ten. We might have been at the Big Ten championship.
Would 08 been too long ago? Oh, wait, that's
I'm thinking 13. Was it 12 or 13?
Yeah, about 13 years ago.
I'll have to ask my friends Preston and Jessica when they got married because that does sound familiar.
I was worried. I was like, has anybody seen Brian?
Well, so the wedding, the wedding, all the people were staying like 5 houses down from me, and everybody just went to my house to party, and it was an early morning, so I overslept. Sorry, guys.
Well, B, I hope you have a good time in the land of.
Every guy has been through those weekends where they plan the days out, and it's like more than 2. That's a recipe for disaster. I'm just saying.
I'll be good. I'll see y'all next Thursday morning.
All right, best wishes.
Enjoy your time in Tallahassee. We'll see you later. Coming up next.
When's the last time you've been on like a 3 or 4 day escapade?
It's been a while,
man. They're always. It's like
I would not recover well anymore.
Yeah, it's like why do I do this to myself?
I can barely go like a day now.
A day.
Coming up next, we got Michael Bruntz, Husker 24/7. That's DBM Ravi Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Live. Kicking off hour number 3 here on Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DBM Ravi Lulla. Joining us now is Michael Bruntz from Husker 24/7. Bruntz, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing. What's going on?
Bruntz, I'm very disappointed in myself. Have you ever gotten dressed in the morning and then you realize what you were wearing and you think to yourself, why did I put this on? I know you're
frequently. Yes, yes, I do.
Okay. I just took a look down, and I'm like, I have a Nebraska zip-up on and Nebraska shorts. That's 2 pieces of flare. That's 1 piece of flare too many.
Big Nebraska guy, huh?
Yeah. See, I'm going. I just told Ravi I've got to do this thing for the Jet Awards. I said I can't wait to go home and change. I feel like fanboy. I'm changing. I don't even know why I just told you that, Bruntz. It seemed like a safe place.
I was gonna say
Well, it was.
on that because you're stand.
Do you have nice Nebraska gear that you wear to special occasions, Damon? There's a reason I'm asking you this.
No.
So this ties in. So BC and I in 2017 when Nebraska played Penn State, we stayed in Pittsburgh, and so I guess this is tangentially related to you. So we're in Pittsburgh and we're looking around the restaurant, and
is this 05 or 06?
This is 17. This is the dead year.
17. That's right. Okay, you just.
So we're in this restaurant looking around, and it's pretty clear that like people are on dates. Like it's date night in Pittsburgh, but we're looking around, and like everybody's got like their nice Steelers jerseys on. Like you get like Franco Harris, you got Hines Ward, you've got really nice jerseys on, and
so like stitched ones, not the screen printed ones.
Yeah.
Right?
So we were talking about this on our podcast, and somebody commented and said, I've noticed that Nebraska fans do the same thing. Not necessarily jerseys, but if you're taking your lady out for a nice night on the town, maybe you put on the higher end Nebraska polo. I was just wondering if you do the same thing. That's all.
That is such a thing. It's funny.
Yeah.
And I'm also offended that you think I would be that guy. I just started wearing sprinkles of Nebraska gear a year ago. So no, I haven't graduated towards and I hate polos, so I'm not wearing one.
If you were going out on a little anniversary date though, what Steelers jersey would you throw on to mark the occasion? Because I mean you're a big Steelers guy, so
I am, and I'm not wearing a jersey in public ever.
I think you go Plaxico.
But yeah. Big Plaxico guy. Big hole in the thigh guy. He was a giant by then. He's not. It wasn't the Steelers.
That doesn't count.
Boy, the Steelers have had some doozies. So Bruntz, how have you kind of recalibrated? Your coworkers appear to think that. I said this yesterday. I said Bruntz must be an awful nice guy because both BC and Schaefer have casually mentioned ways that you have delegated their responsibilities to them, and I'm like. Well, Bruntz must be an awful nice guy because I don't know if I'd let him talk to me like that. Are they exaggerating on how hard you are on him, or is this kind of a bit?
It's probably a bit. I think I'm pretty easy to get along with generally. What did I do? I'm curious because apparently we're just airing our grievances on your show. This is where we come to talk. This is the trust tree.
Yeah, this is like Festivus. We got the airing of grievances.
Well, you low key throw BC under the bus about being Martin Scorsese behind.
That's true though.
I read that.
He's the Ong Lee of the iPhone.
Which I felt like, BC didn't know whether he should be ashamed. He's like, well, then in Bruntz said, and he gives me a hard time. And then what did Shafe say yesterday?
Shafe goes, I just go wherever Bruntz tells me to go. He's like,
oh, yeah.
I just show up and I go, hey, go over there. And he's like, all right.
He goes, I wait to be where I'm delegated to. And
I think I might have the BC clip. You want it?
Yeah, what do you say? Bruntz must be an amazing person.
Well, he always wears that A's hat, so you're like, okay, buddy, you're dealing with some things.
Been through a lot.
That's how that works.
Yeah, you've been a topic without even having your own.
It would floor you guys the quality of video content that BC shoots that falls on the editing room floor. It's just like scene setting, slow pans with the iPhone. He's a surgeon with that thing.
Oh,
a lot of Tarantino stuff out there with the.
It's the delivery.
He's a surgeon.
All right, brothers. We got one midweeker out of the way. It's a good one, right? You got Creighton next week and Kansas again. We're gonna put that to the back burner. You got to go Iowa, Northwestern coming up in conference. Or can we lay this out? I mean, they're all must wins now, right?
Well, you got to start winning some conference games. I mean, that's kind of what the math is at this point. You've got it's interesting when you look at the schedule for Nebraska on the back half of things. Iowa coming up this weekend is the final series that Nebraska has in Big Ten play against a team that's in the top half of the standings. Like it opens considerably, and the win over Kansas. That was a big one. I mean, that was a Kansas team that, you're like, okay, Nebraska's going to go and kind of try to pass the bucket here against an offense that's hit 70 plus home runs already this year and is basically playing like beer league softball in the Big 12. And for the most part, Nebraska walked a ton of guys, which I'm sure Rob Childress didn't appreciate, but they were able to get out of innings. They made some big pitches. And I think overall, you just need you've just been waiting for longer stretches of good baseball from this team, and it's shown up when they've played ranked opponents. When the name on the jersey across the diamond is something, it kind of gets the blood going a little bit. And now you got to start doing it on the weekends, and it's a different challenge on the weekends. I mean, Will Walsh has been good on Fridays, but they're still trying to get some depth in their starts from Horn and Brockett. And I mean, they've only made it through the fifth 3 times this year. So that's a hard way to live. And, one way that you can kind of get around that is if you've got a lineup that can slug a little bit. And it feels like they're starting to do that a little bit. So that's a positive sign. But, this weekend against Iowa is a big one. And then you got to start, racking up the wins on weekends and winning series. So, as much as the midweeks are really important and there's a ton of RPI opportunities still on the schedule for Nebraska, you're going to have to start winning on the weekends, or else it's going to be, you're really kind of putting yourself behind the 8 ball about getting to Omaha.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only goal at this point, right? Because like an at-large is not in the cards. You have to get to the Big Ten tournament. Is that kind of where you're at mentally?
Well, I mean, Nebraska's in the mid 70s right now in the RPI. I mean, it's not out of bounds that they would get, that they could, if they get on a run here, that they could get up into at least the territory where you're having conversations about at-large bids. I mean, it's going to be...
I don't think that's a reach. I agree with you.
Okay.
The resume would look really funky, though, considering that you would have multiple top 25 wins. Your RPI is going to be great. I mean, you'd be putting yourself in a position where the committee would be like, okay, they scheduled hard, they won those games, but what about these games over here? So you just got to start winning games. I mean, regardless of who it's against. And I think that's been the frustrating thing, is that you've started to see signs of things turning at the plate, but you just have not seen it over a stretch of, 2-3 weeks. And that's what's been lacking. I mean, the last 2 weeks, you beat number 5 Oregon State at home. You lose the 2 midweeks to in-state. You beat a really good Kansas team. You take a series from Rutgers at home, and probably should have swept that series. So, it's a tough team to kind of wrap your arms around right now, and it's a I keep saying this. It's a bit of a no ceiling, no floor team right now, and that's kind of a scary thing week to week.
So the way you kind of, I'm interested. Are you more surprised at the fact that the offense has lacked such consistency, or that the pitching hasn't shown near the depth that we thought it may, looking at it on paper when the season started?
Yeah, I mean, I think the conversation shifted since the basically the middle of the California trip. I mean, that's when you've seen the offensive turnaround. You've seen guys that you hoped would start to hit. I mean, Max Butenbach was 107, 108 off the bat.
Boy, when Kansas, he turns it around, it is, I don't know if it's that he's left-handed. It is.
Yeah.
It is pretty.
Yeah. I mean, those were screamers. And I mean, Ty Stone hits on 110 that the first baseman for Kansas somehow gets in front of. That they're hitting the ball fairly well. I think the surprise has been, just the inconsistency with just throwing strikes. I mean, if you're if you're pitching for Rob Childress, I mean, there's no question about what the expectation is. It's you throw strike one and you flood in the zone. And the last couple of weeks, that's been the challenge is just, avoiding innings that are largely just kind of self-inflicted wounds. A bad walk takes a 1-run inning into a 3-run inning. And then, the offense is finally getting to the point where they're responding a little bit. So I the pitching piece of it too, I think I initially didn't appreciate how much of a loss Mason McConaughey was. And it's kind of like, oh, well, of course you lose an All-American on Friday night. That's a big loss. But when you kind of start looking at what the results of that are down the road, I mean, you are getting a really good version of Will Walsh right now. But if you've got Will Walsh on Saturday versus Friday, I mean, your weekends look a heck of a lot different. You've got a different guy going on midweeks. You're setting up your bullpen differently. I mean, I think an important piece is, you're probably getting Tucker Timmerman back in the bullpen this week against Iowa. And just apart from what he can do as a pitcher, he's just kind of one of those guys that you need in there for the attitude. I mean, that's what he brings in addition to everything else. So, maybe they can turn it around, but I think the throwing strikes piece of it has been a little bit surprising, especially given, the success they had with that last year. I mean, they've strived for a 3-to-1 ratio. They hit that last year. I mean, they've got a ton of work to do over the last back half of the season here if they're going to even get close to that this year.
Bruntz, the throwing strikes part of it is always funny to me because I don't necessarily look at that as a talent issue for the most part. Maybe it is more than I give it credit for, but it also, I look and I'm like, okay, I think really highly of Rob Childress as a pitching coach and as a baseball guy. And you mentioned last year wasn't really an issue, and you've got a lot of the same cast of characters. Like, what do you attribute that to? Is it just this weird aberration, kind of like we think they have a lot of good hitters that weren't really hitting well, or like what do you chalk that up to? It's a very strange phenomenon this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good question. I mean, I think part of it is
he was due.
What's that?
Ravi was due.
Yeah. He kind of knocked one through got the bat out there and knocked one through.
I'm all
no, I think part of it is this.
Box score, baby.
I think part of it is this. I think whenever you're like, think back to last year. I mean, you had Sears that was almost like a guaranteed 7 innings on Friday nights. McConaughey was going to get you into the 6th or the 7th. And, Sunday you could kind of piece it together a little bit and figure it out. You're relying a lot more on your bullpen now. You're bringing guys in tight spots, tighter spots. You're bringing in younger guys in tighter spots. And I think that's sometimes not a recipe for success in terms of throwing strikes. I agree with that. I don't think it's a talent issue. I do wonder if it's at times you've been putting guys into games where it's not above the pay grade, but guys need to get a little bit more comfortable coming in with a couple runners on base. And you've seen them turn to the freshmen on the staff a little bit more than what they did a year ago. So I think that's a piece of it. I mean, I think a lot of their issues would be maybe not solved, but helped quite a bit if you could just start getting more consistent starts behind Walsh on the weekends. I mean, I think that to me has been the biggest thing. And I mean, Will Bolt wasn't shy about masking his frustration with that on Sunday last weekend. I mean, it's just really tough if you're having to go to your bullpen in the 5th inning every week or every game.
Bruntz, how about if the mental component, or like, being able to pump strikes or whatever, we just assume, right, that the rotations or the roles are well defined enough where guys can settle in, because it does seem a little mishmashy sometimes on the weekends, and I get it. Sometimes it happens fast, and you've got to go to the bullpen. But do you feel good about guys knowing their roles where they can kind of settle in, or do you feel like it's been so inconsistent? It's like, all right, let's try this.
Yeah, I think with certain guys they figured it out. Like they want Christo coming in after Walsh, on Friday. It's like basically the first 2 games of the Rutgers series played out exactly how they would have wanted to line it up from a pitching perspective. And Sundays are where it gets a little hairy. I mean, you're either having to go back to Cristo on Sunday, which they've done, or you're trotting out some younger guys. I mean, I do wonder if there's, based on kind of what guys have shown, if you're going to see a bigger role for a guy like Casey Dice, who's been very good, but not thrown a ton this year. You get Timmerman back. That helps a lot. I mean, I think he was probably in that group with Worthley and Cristo as kind of their kind of fireman type arm. So
I thought early on with Dice, he may settle into a big role this season.
He's
certainly capable.
Yeah, and he doesn't get hit hard. He is kind of a different pitcher than he was last year when they were going to try to close him. So I mean, he might be a better option on the weekends now, but yeah, I think with some guys, they've got the roles figured out. I think sometimes with the younger guys, it's like, okay, let's go here. If somebody's not able to throw strikes. So, and I mean, you guys know, I mean, Rob's not shy about pulling guys if they're not putting it over the plate either.
Bruntz, real quick, want to switch over to football last few minutes here. As we get a little bit of a taste of practice on Tuesday. Heard from Satterfield and Dvoracek, two of DB's favorites. As we get, what are we, halfway through spring at this point?
Yeah.
Have you felt like you've learned anything? Are we anywhere different than we were 2 weeks ago?
I'm willing to go along with Matt Rule's what do you say, Saturday, that the offensive line has kind of been his story of the spring. It's a different looking group than what they've had. And I didn't get a chance to watch him much the first open practice, but you just kind of, I mean, we talked about this last week. And I think you guys were right on about the numbers of guys that you feel like you could go in and play right now rotationally. I think I'm willing to go along with that for sure. I was with the offense. I again delegated to the other guys to go defense, so I was with the offense. But I don't know. I mean, I think the other thing I'm willing to at least consider is that the running back spot's interesting. They've been very convicted in their feelings that they don't need anybody out of the portal. They like the group that they have. I guess there's maybe a little bit more depth there with some of the young guys than what I appreciated behind Emmett Johnson. And, who knows when the pads go on. And,
who'd you like?
Well, I think Mekhi Nelson's a guy that, you got to account for. And even Parker, too. Like, he looks a heck of a lot better with 190 pounds on him than 175. But I think Mekhi Nelson, for what I think they're going to want to try to do offensively with the running backs, he can do it.
I'm going to feel real good being right about that if he plays.
You've been holding that stock since last fall.
I know. He just, I'm telling you, and I'm going to, it's not a secret anymore. I'm going to invest. I'm going to try to do the best that I can, that we do all the little things away from actually playing that give you a chance to be successful. He is a talented little guy, and he's mean-spirited too, which I like.
We only get we don't see a lot of the run game stuff, so I can't really speak to that. But I mean, if they're gonna have running backs catching passes out of the backfield, I mean, there's gonna be some opportunity there with Johnson and Nelson and Parker and those guys. I mean, I feel like that's a piece of the offense that they haven't really had for years. So that's another thing I'm willing to go along with. I can see where they're behind the scenes saying like, okay, this is what we see versus what everybody kind of sees when they're looking at a depth chart and the stats. I mean, even Quentin Ives. I mean, he looks more of the part, but I think
he looks the most like a Big Ten running back.
He does.
You just look at his stature.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good looking team. I mean, they look good off the bus right now. So, but yeah, I think I'll go along with the offensive line and the running backs. I'll buy into that.
I hate to ask you a defensive question because everybody, and I don't know if they wanted. I'm not going to panic. Whatever happens, happens. You were interested in the DB room. It seems like, and I think Shafe was over there. Some of the guys.
I hope so. He's supposed to be.
Those are his marching orders.
It seems like it's not near as complicated and crapshooty as we may have thought with all the numbers in the DB room. It seems like they're kind of settling into a little bit of a rotation there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's maybe less to sort through. I mean, I think you see the line, the list of defensive backs is about this long, and I mean, you're at least in the spring, you're kind of figuring out a little bit who can help you, and what guys can actually do. I mean, I think if you take that list, there's probably a pretty big piece of the list that's kind of over there working with Phil Snow in that second group versus everybody else. So, there's going to be some guys that get added to the mix, I guess, in the fall. But I don't know. That's a group too, where I don't know that I necessarily would have just given the immediate edge to a returning veteran. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you can definitely tell the young guys that they want to work in.
And so, I mean, that's also the value of the bowl games last year. You're able to figure that out a little bit more, get some of those guys some work with the top groups, and kind of, I mean, it's kind of the ongoing piece of that evaluation process that probably started back in December.
I kind of hope that everybody else works like that too, where you have some guys, you bring a handful of young guys along, then the next time the young guys can kind of push the older guys, it still kind of stays status quo. Then the young guys take over. Then you start the next cycle of that over again, where I think that's how they want to run the development of the program. Because I'm seeing that kind of in the wide receiver room too, right? A little bit of the older, more experienced guys. You still got a handful of young guys.
Yeah.
And then you sprinkle in the next handful of young guys in, where if you can do that with almost every position group, that's kind of how you want to do it if you're going to be super myopic.
For lack of a better word, I mean, it's essentially like you're getting some JV guys up at the varsity a little bit. And I don't know. I mean, if 105 is going to be the number, I mean, I think that's kind of
seems like it's on the back burner now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see what a phase out, phase in process looks like to get to the number, because you can't do it in a year.
No. I mean, it would be like a lighter version of the way they've had to do COVID eligibility, right? Which,
yeah, just kind of roll it.
Yeah.
It feels like you've had some form or fashion of that for like a decade. Like, this guy's got 6 years. This guy's down to 5.
And it was only 2020.
I know.
5 years ago now, though.
COVID light. I like that, Bruntz. That might stick too.
The pandemic of college football, the 105 roster.
You might be right, though.
Bruntz, we appreciate the time as always. Good stuff. Make sure you get those troops back in line where they need to be.
I'm just letting you know, I always feel conflicted when I see you in your Orioles hat too. Like, I never see you in anything A's.
Well, it's been a hard start to the season. I don't enjoy watching Major League Baseball in a AAA park.
That's it. But I like your roster. I think you're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, they deserve better.
He's just out there supporting Cade Povich. That's all.
Yep.
Hey, I don't mind.
Shady.
Thanks, Bruntz.
Bruntz, we appreciate it. Later. Michael Bruntz, Husker 24/7. You see what I'm rocking today? I'm rocking a little baseball gear.
Yeah, that's terrible.
What? Not a big Salt Dogs guy?
I am, but I'm not.
I don't even know what that means.
I should have gone to more games, but I'm always for baseball.
Yeah, see, I thought you'd appreciate that.
I appreciate you.
Being a hater today. Sipping on that haterade.
I feel like there's a lot of projection going on.
Who, me?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
are we getting to our picks?
We're going to go to the picks next. Got to remind you, though, if you're finally on your way to work, which maybe late start today, that's all right. It gets the best of us sometimes. Make sure you got that seatbelt fastened and make it click. It prevents injuries and saves lives. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. We'll get some Masters picks coming up next. We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you that at Central Federal Credit Union, they've got ways to enrich your knowledge about your finances. There's always something more to learn in the ever-changing landscape of your finances, and Centris understands how important it is to be well-educated about not only your finances, but also the financial services that they offer. Go to centrisfcu.enrich.org and start enriching your financial goals today. That's centrisfcu.enrich.org. Federally insured by NCUA. DB.
Yes, sir.
I think it's time that we make our Masters picks.
Okay, sure.
You ready to draft?
I am.
All right.
I just don't know how you wanted to do the order. Last
Well,
time we crumpled up paper.
I have a number between one. I'll go third. I'm volunteering.
Well, you want to go back to back.
Oh, are we doing Serpentine?
Yeah.
I'll let you pick then. Okay. So Shane and DB, I've got a number between 1 and 20 in my head. DB, what's the number?
17.
That's funny. I was going to say 17.
Shane, what's your number?
17, but I'll change it
You
to
have to change a different number.
8.
Shane is closer. Do you want to go first, second, or third?
I just would have said 16 if I were him.
Yeah.
I want to go first.
You want to go first? DB, what do you want?
I'll take 2 to stay in the middle.
Okay. I will go 3 then. So, Shano, you are up. Who is your number 1 draft pick in our Masters draft?
I'll go with Scotty.
Scotty Scheffler.
Yes, please.
Staying chalky on the first pick.
I don't mind that.
I don't either. It wasn't a hater. It's just that's the betting favorite. That's a smart pick.
Shane, that's a smart pick.
Who are you going?
I like it a lot.
Who are you going with the deuce?
I'm going to take Colin Kawa.
Oh,
That's a great pick.
Okay. I appreciate you leaving my guy for me.
I wanted you to have him because he's going to drive you crazy on Sunday.
Rory?
Yes.
I am taking Rory McIlroy with the 3rd pick. My 2nd pick here is going to be John Rahm.
Wow, nice pull.
That's the guy I said yesterday I thought was going to win it. I'm going John Rahm here.
You get both your guys.
I do, yeah.
Do you feel good about that?
I do feel good about it.
Okay.
So
Has anybody ever won it 3 times in 6 years?
3 and 6, yes, I think. I'm sure Tiger had 3 and 6 at some point. I don't.
That's if he does, that's legendary right there.
Yeah, it would. It'd be legendary status. DB, who's your 2nd pick?
I hate to do this to Shane. I'm going to take Justin Thomas.
Ooh.
Aw.
He sounds. Oh no. Shane, who is your 2nd pick?
I'm going to go with Cameron Smith.
Cam Smith.
Wow,
Okay.
really? Off the grid?
Wow.
That's not really off the grid.
But his average finish is off the grid.
No, I see you.
It is off a grid for sure.
I see you, Shane.
All right, DB, back to you.
Shane goes again.
Oh yeah, Shane, you've got your. I apologize, Shane. You got your double pick here.
So Colin's been picked, correct?
Yep.
Dickey.
You going with Matsuyama?
Yeah.
All righty. Not Matsui, former Yankee great. Matsuyama.
Yes.
So it's 4 picks and 1 long shot, right?
3 picks and a long shot. So 4 total. So you've got.
I don't know if that's enough.
You want to do 4 and a long shot?
Kinda.
All right, that's fine. Let's do it.
I kind of thought that's what it was.
Okay, 4 and a long shot.
But I could have said it wrong.
This is your game, so 4 and a long shot. So you got 2 more regulars left.
I'm gonna take Patrick Cantlay.
Ooh, okay. That was a guy that John seemed high on.
I'm gonna take Cantlay.
You know who I'm going with?
Who?
Ludwig.
Oh, Oberg.
Yep, Ludwig Oberg. I believe with the umlaut above it, it's pronounced as Oberg.
Yeah, correct.
All right, it is back to me once again. So this will be my final normal pick.
Correct. I like your squad.
I kind of do too.
I think you're boom or bust with Rahm though.
Probably. Yeah, I'm taking a shot there at a guy I think can win it. I'm a little swayed.
Don't do it, please.
Do it.
I'm a little swayed here.
Don't do
Like
it.
blue suede?
Blue suede shoes?
Don't do it.
I'm going to go with the guy that John put us on to.
Bryson?
I'm going Corey Connors.
That's not bad. A lot of people like him as a dark horse.
So he's not quite in our dark horse category.
I know, and a lot of people have him.
He's at 50-1. Our cutoff is 60-1. So I'm going to take him as a regular pick because John seemed convinced that he had a real shot here this weekend.
Okay.
So this is you, Damon. This is your last regular.
So
regular guy.
I'm torn here.
Okay.
Between Will Zalatoris.
Okay, great name.
And Brooks Koepka.
So Koepka was the other guy I was thinking about.
I didn't want you to take Koepka. So are we really going to do this and nobody takes Brooks or Bryson?
I don't like Bryson that much.
I can't cheer for him either.
So I wasn't going to cheer for him, so I didn't pick him. I did almost pick Brooks over Connors, but my fellow type 1 diabetic, John Rathouz, he swayed me.
Because Will just misses the long shot. He's 55-1.
See, that's where I'm at with Connors, is I'm right on that line. I've actually got Will at 50-1. You going? Zalatoris is a great name. If you're going off of vibes, Zalatoris is great vibes.
But
Koepka's
because JB and KC is my boy, I'm rolling with Will.
Will Zalatoris.
I am actually not going to take Brooks Koepka. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Shane is the last one that has a chance to take Koepka.
I don't want any of the B's.
No Bryson, no Brooks.
No BS there.
Who are you taking?
Is there anybody that's off the board that I missed? Because I don't want to say a name, and if somebody's been
so this is it. So you get this pick is safe.
But I mean,
it's protected because the only other picks we have left are the long shots.
So but there's nobody that's
there shouldn't be anybody listed on the odds that's not going to play.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll take
Tommy Fleetwood?
No. Well, that would have been if I was going one more, it would be. I'll go Xander.
Xander Schauffele for Shano.
See, I let John talk me off of him.
Yeah. I should have taken Koepka instead of Connors, but I let John talk me into Connors.
All right, we're blaming this on old Rathouz.
All right, Shane, this is your long shot pick.
Oh, dang. So what's the cutoff again?
60-1.
60-1. So I could have waited on Cameron, but I wanted Cameron.
You got Cam right at 60-1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could have waited on him, but you're out here.
Nah, I wanted him.
So on mine, I've got Cam Smith at 50-1 for what it's worth. So
all right, if there's a discrepancy, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be real uptight about it, but
okay, I'll go with Tony.
I like
Finau?
it. I like it.
Big Finau guy. All right, DB, last pick, your long shot.
Straka.
My guy Sepp?
Yep.
How dare you? Okay. Listen, that's kind of
no. I didn't. I was gonna take Jason Day.
I know that's your guy.
It is, and he and Sepp have the same odds.
I was kind of looking at. So you brought up Dustin Johnson to John. He kind of talked me off of that one. I think I'm gonna go. Am I crazy if I go Wyndham Clark here?
No, that's a good pull.
I think I'm going to go Wyndham Clark here.
That's a good pull.
That's going to be my wild card.
And for the record, that's the first time I've given in to peer pressure in quite some time.
Yeah?
And he didn't even really pressure me. I just know he likes Will. And plus, it gives us a similar rooting interest.
So here are the squads. DB has Morikawa, Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, Will Zalatoris, and Sepp Straka. Shane has Scotty Scheffler, Cam Smith, Hideki, Xander Schauffele, and Tony Finau. I've got Rory McIlroy, John Rahm, Oberg, Corey Connors, and Wyndham Clark.
Yeah,
I think we've all got good squads here.
That's tough. We all have picks, and again, there's 15 guys represented.
And none of them are Brooks Koepka or Bryson DeChambeau?
No Bryson, no Hatton.
Yeah.
No Brooks.
And I know he's not playing that well right now, but part of me is we're just going to pretend like Jordan Spieth's not out there.
Yeah, I know.
That's hard.
But if I was going to take a guy in that range, I don't know.
It's tough.
It is.
It's tough.
If I was going to go in the
Spieth range.
Yeah. It wouldn't have been Spieth. I would have taken Fleetwood or Shane Lowry.
You You do like Tommy Fleetwood.
I like Tommy Fleetwood a lot.
A lot of people in the chat were on Tommy Fleetwood as well. So those are the teams. We'll do an aggregate scoring.
I like Fleet. So how are we doing if they don't make the cut? Do you want to pick an arbitrary number that they're assessed because you won't get a chance to gain those strokes? Or you could just be penalized because they don't make the cut.
Penalized how much? Or do you just want to call it par? Like you get 72 for both rounds if we're not making the cut.
I like just having the extra guy out there, like the fourth guy.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
So if one of your guys doesn't make it, your fourth guy comes in.
No, all of them count.
All of them count.
All of them count.
But you wanted to do it that way.
Yeah.
All of them.
All of them count. You just don't get if guys don't make the cut, you're short 2 days of getting
of strokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty much screwed.
But I mean, if we count it as par, it's the same thing, because you'd be at 0 for strokes anyway. So I think you're just out of luck if they don't make the cut. You made a bad pick.
Is out of luck?
Yeah, we're out here, right?
Is everybody like that? I need somebody smarter than us.
I think it makes sense.
All right, if you want to roll with it.
If you didn't make the cut, like you should get penalized for it. For making the pick of a guy who didn't make the cut.
All right, Tuffy.
If a guy gets, medically retires or has to call it.
I used to be friends with a kid named Tuffy.
Tuffy?
Tuffy Sainsbury.
Was that his real name?
I think his real name was Steve.
So not Tuffy.
Steven, but everybody called him Tuffy.
Like Coco Crisp?
Yeah.
Covelli?
All right, let's see what Corey says. All right, somebody smarter. Let's see. Corey says, Shane, put that in bold. I can't read. There it is. Thank you. A lot of people give you the low score for the day for any player that didn't make the cut. That's what Ken says, too.
What does that mean?
Okay. So the low score for the day. Like
of who, though? So, like, if I have, let's say, for me.
So let's say,
let's say John
well, JB's like, if your guy doesn't make the cut, you score 75.
I don't like that. That's too much.
Well, that's a heavy. Geez, JB.
I think you just don't get the opportunity to win any strokes back.
So I think Corey's saying, like, let's say if somebody shoots, 84 on. I think he's saying if somebody shoots like an 84 on Saturday.
Oh, okay. So, sorry. When he said low score, I was thinking low, like good.
Yeah.
As opposed to worst.
Yeah, I think he's
You're saying the worst score of the day.
Corey, can you confirm or deny if that's...
I don't like that. That seems overly...
penalized?
Yeah, that seems overly penalizing.
Well, you were the Mr. Big Balls. I think you just don't get the strokes.
Well,
but you don't want to be hurt by it?
Well, no. I mean, there's a difference between not getting the opportunity to improve and getting overly penalized.
Yeah, he's talking about... Yep, Corey's right. He's talking about worst score.
I don't know. I don't like that. That's aggressive. That's aggressive.
You would get smoked. You could be out of it in a hurry.
Yeah,
even if you had the winning golfer.
If one guy doesn't make the cut and your other 4 guys finish in the top 10, you still might lose. So it seems overly penalizing. You know what I mean?
But you're also not really penalized for because you're not inheriting the bad too without the guy being out there on the course.
Yeah, that's why I just you just don't get the opportunity either way. Like, if a guy misses the cut, there's no chance for you to gain strokes there.
Well, somebody's missing the cut. I mean, you got that many players, I guarantee you at least
100%.
Out of our
you think of our 15, all 15 guys aren't making the cut.
Out of our 15, someone's missing the cut.
At least 1, 2, maybe even 3.
I don't know. Are they?
3 guys seems aggressive. Somebody's missing the cut out of our group, but 3 guys.
Now, this is definitely something JB would say.
What'd he say?
Now, my 3 strokes doesn't sound so bad.
He's not wrong. Maybe we land on 75.
I'll take it.
75?
Yeah.
Okay, that seems fair.
I'll take it.
So any golfer that gets cut, their Saturday,
because
Sundays.
what if there's tough you want there to be some inherent risk to not picking the right guy.
Fair. So
it's flickering.
Anybody that does not make the cut, their Saturday, Sunday, you get 150 total.
Yep.
All right.
Take it.
Tacked on.
I'm in. So let it be written, so let it be done.
Let's ride.
Those are our Masters picks. We will give you results on Monday.
Take a break, come back and see if I can give you some real picks.
See if we can get some winners. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Live. Wrapping up the show here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. Reminding you, as it starts to get a little warmer out there, you still have a little bit of time if you're trying to lose a little weight before, getting that swimsuit on, maybe before you get out in the pool or boat, whatever you're doing out there. Maybe you're just trying to rock I got this super sweet Jordan old 92 Team USA jersey the other day.
It's oddly specific.
Trying to, I mean, it's the exact thing I got. You know, it's
oddly specific.
It's a white one. You know, it's the white jerseys. If you're trying to rock like suns out, guns out a little bit, call Midland's Family Urgent Care. They can help you out. Lose a little bit of weight. 402-810-9494. They've actually helped me lose a lot of weight, over 30 pounds. I'm down a couple sizes as well. Love the way I feel. Give them a call for a consultation. It is quick and easy, and they've got FDA-approved options to help you lose weight. 402-810-9494. It's Midland's Family Urgent Care. But we're not talking about losing right now, DB. We're talking about winning.
Yeah, I may have a minor regret, but it's okay.
Was it taking my Red Sox last night?
No, because I mean you would be up units because if you play the Rangers,
yeah.
So
because they were plus money,
you just
you take them and lose them.
You win the day, man. You just try to win the day. I'm regretting Tommy Fleetwood.
Yeah, I'm regretting Koepka already. Like instantly, as soon as I didn't pick him, I was like, I should have picked him.
Which is weird because Koepka's the guy that I didn't want you to take,
and then you didn't take him either.
No, because I caved. I took Will.
Yeah.
It was either Koepka or Will. But Fleetwood should have been my Cantlay.
I almost took Zalatoris also. I like both of those guys. And then I let John talk me into Connor. So we'll see how it goes. I'm either going to blame him.
We're going to have a lot of speaks with old Johnny.
If it doesn't go my way, you know.
Let's do it for Johnny, man.
Well, I got a better clip than that.
You know, they'll say coach is tripping.
They'll say coach is tripping.
I'm tripping up.
Nobody watches film.
He said, well, they're not going to watch their minutes. I mean.
No, nobody watches film.
Yeah, I mean, that's a cold shot.
And now he doesn't have a job.
Yeah, somebody's going to hire him.
Yeah, they will.
I mean,
he's a good coach. He's good at what he does.
He's just so old school.
You know, and I wonder spots that make sense for him.
Do you look at Jokic any different, or just because he's so good?
I struggle with Jokic a lot, and I know I'm one of the few like NBA heads that struggle with Jokic, but I do. I struggle with it. I mean, so there's a few things here, right? And a lot of it is me being shallow. It's fine. My man's is not in good shape.
Yeah. He just acts like it's such a burden to be out there.
So that's the other thing. There's multiple things. One of them is I like basketball players to look like they're athletes. Okay? Jokic looks like a farmer. It's fine. And nothing against farmers. We love him. But he doesn't look like he is one of the best athletes in the world. That's a tough hang for me. Okay? Number 2. He seems really burdened by the fact that he has to play professional basketball for a living. Which he doesn't, by the way. He could quit anytime he wants. He can go back to Serbia and his horses. He made way more money than Darko did, and Darko's living his best life.
Yeah.
Okay?
And Darko's rich.
Yeah, like he's rich. And like I know the dollar's down a little bit, but it still goes a long way in Serbia. You know what I mean?
So you know where you need to go?
Where's that?
If you want the strong dollar.
Where's that?
Mexico, but be safe. Strong dollar.
So that's number 2 on Jokic.
Don't get the exchange here. Get it out of the ATMs there. Yeah.
I don't like the fact that he seems like he doesn't even like basketball. That bothers me. And number 3, he's just, I know this is blasphemy. I don't love the way it looks. You know what I mean? Like his shot's all the way up here and he's falling back and it all looks very kind of...
He throws passes like he's discarding trash.
He kind of got a little Hunter Dickinson to him and they're just like tossing it over. Now he's way better, obviously, but just sort of it's over there.
Isn't that crazy? He just goes 61, 10, and 10.
Yeah, no,
second in the league.
Unbelievable. I feel dumb even saying it out loud, but I don't like to watch it that much.
That's how I feel about Walter Payton.
I don't enjoy it that much. So yeah, there's my
thing. For different reasons.
Yes.
That like the love of the game, but I don't enjoy
stylistically it doesn't appeal to you
at all.
And so I'm just out here and I go, okay, I can be the only person in the world that apparently doesn't like watching Jokic, but I also can sit here and go, I don't really know how. Like, there's going to be at some point if Nikola Jokic is the guy that everybody tells me that he is, because they're like, oh, these historic numbers and all the MVPs, and he's the best player in the world the last 4 years and whatever. At some point, I need him to win another championship. I do. You don't get to be in that conversation as a one-off. Because that's what we're doing with Giannis here. Anybody talk about Giannis the way that we did 4 years ago?
No.
No, we don't. You know who's better than he was 4 years ago?
Giannis.
You know who's putting up prime Shaq numbers on a daily basis? Giannis. Like, go look at Shaq's prime, like peak prime. His numbers are comparable to Giannis. Giannis's are maybe even a little better. He's more efficient.
I was going to say he's more efficient
than Shaq. Okay? And we don't talk about Giannis like that because he's not even in the neighborhood of a second championship. So I don't know why Jokic gets a pass on it. I don't know why he just gets a pass. It's like, oh, he's got the one title. It's fine. It's not like Giannis has had better injury luck than Jokic has.
No, I get it.
Middleton couldn't stay healthy. Dame can't stay healthy. Those have been his two best players. And I could make the argument that at the point in their careers that they were, I know Dame is a better overall player than Jamal Murray is.
Dame is just broken, though.
That's my point, though. I know Dame's a better overall player than Jamal Murray is historically and over the course of their careers. At this point of when Giannis got Dame, Murray's a better teammate in terms of when he's on the floor than Dame is.
Yeah.
Giannis has done it with less than Jokic, I would argue, because Aaron Gordon's been a really good player. Michael Porter's been good at different times. They've had really good role players, and Bruce Brown and KCP was good at the time. They've got Christian Brown now. He's had good players. This isn't a bad roster. So I don't really know why Booth got fired. Like, he's put together a pretty solid roster. And if you have the roster you like, then I maybe understand why Malone gets fired. But none of this falls on Jokic? None of it at all?
I wonder if it'll change the way people look at him. Although maybe not, just because he's so stinking good.
Yeah, he gets a pass on everything, and I don't really get it. I don't understand it. Like, if I'm going to hammer Kevin Durant and other people are going to hammer, I don't really hammer Giannis, but if other people are going to put the asterisk on Giannis, it's like, well, he kind of got that one off. It was it was right after COVID, and the Suns blew the 0-2 lead or the 2-0 lead and whatever. Like, if Giannis is going to get an asterisk, we're not going to put that on Jokic too? I like the way Giannis's game looks better than Jokic's. At least Giannis looks like he gives a damn. Like, he just looks upset. He's like, oh, I got to get another rebound, throw it 80 feet for a dime.
Ravi here for giving a damn.
He's just so, act like you like basketball, even a little bit. You don't have to play.
Mm-hmm.
Someone else will take your roster spot, I promise.
And I'm with you.
Anyway, I didn't mean to talk about Jokic that much. Apparently, you hit a nerve.
Fairly passionate. Just go ahead and take the Twins this afternoon. 1:10 tilt at the K. It'll be Ober and Waka Flocka.
Big Michael Waka Flame guy?
Yeah, I am actually, but not today.
Former Cardinal?
Not today. I will take your Minnesota Twins.
Not mine. They're BC's Minnesota Twins, not mine.
Yeah. Take those guys.
Not about that life. They're even money today. So you get a little even money on. I can't believe you're rooting against the home team, Kansas City Royals. That's rude.
Don't bring that trash it this early in the morning, Damon.
Sorry, BC.
Are my Red Sox gonna get back on the winning side?
That's a literal coin flip.
I don't like it.
It's Walker though.
Yeah, I need him to. He looked okay in spring training. He's been a little rough the first couple times out. Like
he takes a little time.
Takes some time to get warm.
Kind of like Love.
Just takes a little time.
But Love takes time. But I'm gonna throw you a bone.
Like Jordan Love, or
I'm gonna throw you a bone.
Yeah. What do we got?
And I'm not just saying this. I think you mega unit the Red Sox today.
Oh. Minus 120?
Yeah.
Got Red Sox mega unit minus 120. Minnesota against KC, even money.
Yep.
Regular unit.
Lock it up.
Those are the locks of the day from my guy DB.
I've never been so sure.
Never been so sure. I hope you're right. I need to get back to 500.
I'll be busy at the Jet Awards. You can't get at your boy. Come see us, man. It'll be 72 tables. That's the most that there's ever been. I saw the setup yesterday.
And you can come in, $20. General public is welcome.
You know what you're wearing yet?
$20 gets you into the stands. You get to see the whole thing. It's really cool. It's a super cool thing. I don't know. I got a couple options at home. See, part of the problem is since I have lost a little bit of weight, not all my suits fit the same.
Yeah. I asked Severe what he was wearing. He said whatever fits.
I got to figure out a little bit. So we'll get it done. We'll be out there. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll be back here on Hurrdat Sports Live tomorrow. Have a good way.